Welcome back to Silent Hill.
You did it, didn't you, Jimmy? You woke him up.
Based on the groundbreaking video game Silent Hill 2.
No one said it would be easy.
Get tickets now for Return to Silent Hill, exclusively in theaters January 23rd.
I hate to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, so it's serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking, what health-conscious fast food purveyor did you originally solicit to buy these chicken wings you've so lovingly reheated in a minor suicidal gesture? We're talking, your 6 months of karate at the King Prussia Mall can blow me too. And we're talking, etc. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking Unbreakable 2. Oops, I mean Split.
Oops, we did it again.
We did it again. Also, I was like, did you say etc?
Etc?
Etc.
Etc? Maybe it's a Canadian in me. Do we say the X?
There's no X in etc.
No
it's
X
just
in
an
it.
It's ET.
E to the T to the C? Yes.
Wait,
okay.
now I'm second guessing myself. I'm like, wait, yeah, it is ET.
You've been saying it wrong all along.
No,
I'm getting in your
saying-
mind.
but yes, everyone, we are discussing M. Night Shyamalan's 2016 film Split. To some people, his big comeback, certainly in a financial way.
Absolutely, yes. And did I program this thinking that it was the 10-year anniversary? Mostly, but it turns out that's the festival premiere, so technically we're a little bit over a year early. It's fine, because you know what? I was eager to revisit this film no matter what.
I was too, and I gotta say, this held up for me. I didn't like it particularly any more, but I didn't like it any less on this rewatch.
Yes, I'm going to compartmentalize my responses because I think the DID stuff, which I know was very, very heavily criticized when this film came out, I actually don't think it's as terrible as people maybe made it out to be. And full confession, obviously, I am not living with DID, so if people identify as such and they're like, no, it's actually really fucking offensive, yes, I will walk that back. But I think within the world of the film, it's not suggesting if you have DID, then, you're going to go off and sexually assault and murder young girls. Like, we'll get into that. But I do think that its treatment of, spoiler alert, content warning, sexual assault and trauma survivors, I do think is handled very cavalierly.
Okay, cavalierly, yes. I don't find it offensive. And like you, Joe, I don't live with DID. I'm also not a survivor of sexual abuse. So, I don't have the life experience to have an informed opinion, I guess I would say.
Right.
But the sexual abuse is...
I think it's just so slight. It feels like it's in here as a plot element, and we'll get into it, but I wish that if we were going to do it, we were going to use it in a more thorough fashion.
I would actually push back on it being a plot element. I do think it's a bit of character development, but I don't think it's really I say it's not really delved into as deep as I want to go into, but then how deep do I want this movie to discuss the Anya Taylor-Joy's character sexual assault,
Sure, but I would argue that is the problem, right? Don't introduce it if you're not willing to do the work.
Well, so I guess, should it just be, she was, so should it be another kind of abuse, or should it just be she has something in her past that's not abuse that makes her good at surviving things? She's a survivalist.
I would argue the latter, because I will say I definitely thought that that's what it was. Daddy took me out to the woods, a la You're Next, and he taught me how to shoot. He taught me for the end of the world. He prepared me for the zombie apocalypse. I know how to use guns. I know how to defend myself.
Yeah. Well,
or something else. Hello, M. Night, you're a storyteller. Maybe you could have thought this through a little bit more.
The film does bite off more than it can chew, I think.
Right.
I don't find it particularly offensive. But again, I don't have the informed opinion.
Right. And I didn't mean to say that I was offended by it. I just think that it's not as well used as it should be if we're going to introduce it.
Yeah. Oh my God. We're already in the weeds and we're 2 minutes.
I was going to say, hi, folks. We're talking about Split. It's the unofficial sequel. Well, no, it is the sequel to Unbreakable, but it's one we didn't know was coming.
We did not know it was coming. And Joe, I got to tell you, I was at the world premiere of this movie.
Oh, shit, she's important.
Yes, it was a secret screening at Fantastic Fest in 2016.
Nice.
It was that September, the one you thought was a 10-year anniversary.
There we go. Time. What is it? Who can say?
Oh my God. But yeah, it was, because, they brought M. Night Shyamalan out like before the screening. So then we were like, oh, but it was September. The movie came out in January. No one really knew because the plot had been kept under wraps. So no one really knew what the movie was when it started.
Which is so exciting because I'm not going to lie. One of the biggest problems that I think you and I have been finding over the last couple of years, and Fantastic Fest is so great at genre programming, but also they've really fallen into this thing where it's like, here's this new exciting movie. It comes out next Friday.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know. There's so many of those where it's like, oh, it comes out in 2 weeks, or, it's a Netflix movie or something like that. So yeah, when I get to see a movie that's, 5 months early, that's great. Right. Because at that point it already had distribution. Universal was already coming in. It's not the opposite scenario where it's a film without distribution where it's like, are we ever going to get to see this again?
Yeah, not going to lie. I also completely forgot that this was a Blumhouse film.
Yeah, and I don't really have a lot of information. I mean, all I know is that Shyamalan worked really well with Blum, because I do think Blum also produced The Visit, which is the film that Shyamalan did the year before this. So clearly they have a good relationship going for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me more about it. How did this come to be?
Well, okay. So the character of Kevin Wendell Crumb. So this is James McAvoy's character in the movie. And, we will say his name a few times.
Just a few. Yes.
But his character didn't actually originate with Split. Shyamalan had actually written him and a bunch of the scenes that we see in Split in the Unbreakable script back in like 1999, 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he had been sitting on this for a really long time.
Yes, Joe, because the thing is this. Samuel L. Jackson's character, Elijah, Mr. Glass, wasn't the villain of Unbreakable when he started writing it. It was Kevin Wendell Crumb.
Okay.
So basically, David Dunn, the Bruce Willis character, was going to meet him in the original script. And Shyamalan says, and I should point out, I'm pulling all of this from the Blu-ray of the film, as well as an interview that Shyamalan did with Empire back at the time of the film's release.
Okay.
But he said he couldn't get the balance right. And so he pulled him out of the script because, in his words, he wanted a really slow burn movie for Unbreakable. And he ultimately decided that Kevin was not a slow burn.
Well, yes. Okay, question. Were you able to deduce if then Elijah Price, which is the Samuel L. Jackson character, does he replace Kevin, or were they both in that original version?
So they were both in the original script, but apparently the character of Elijah was always like an advisor in the script. So he was like guiding Bruce Willis's character, but he wasn't going to be the villain unless that was going to be the twist at the end of the movie, which kind of is the twist of Unbreakable, that he is the villain. But
absolutely. Yeah.
But I guess maybe in the original version, Kevin would have been like front and center the villain. Like, no, this is what we're doing here.
Main antagonist, secondary secret antagonist.
Yeah. Okay. But so either way, the three of them were always in it, but Elijah went from the benevolent advisor to the opposite of David Dunn. So once Shyamalan had that idea, it became very obvious that he just needed to pull Kevin out. But again, as you said, he just sat on him for a really, really long time. But
I mean, I guess if a character lives in your mind, they're going to be there sort of percolating in the background as you're developing new stories, thinking, okay, is there a way to bring this person back to the forefront?
Well, I think his original plan was he was going to follow up Unbreakable and bring that character into it. But the muted reception to Unbreakable, especially in the United States, led him to abandon the idea at the time.
Yeah, folks, that was definitely a film that got reappraised over time. I will say, I was a staunch defender since day one. That's me very much congratulating myself, patting myself on the back. But I understand it was divisive at the time, but I loved how melancholy that film is.
Yeah, I mean, I was 11 when I saw that in theaters, and I very much did not like it.
Not exciting. Not a superhero film.
It was not. Well, I mean, it wasn't even marketed as a superhero film.
No,
but if you wanted the big twist, like The Sixth Sense, which there is a twist in it, but I didn't find it. My 11-year-old self didn't find it satisfying. Right. I have since revisited it, and I do think, Unbreakable is pretty great and underrated.
Yeah. Love that one.
But yeah. So then what happened is Shyamalan had kids. And so for a long while, when his kids were growing up, he was more interested in family-oriented stuff because that's where his headspace was. So that's why we get Lady in the Water and that Avatar movie, not the James Cameron one. And
oh my God, can you imagine being M. Night's kids and being like, stop blaming us for Lady in the Water.
I know, right? Like, oh,
that's on you, Dad.
So he was telling younger stories to a younger audience, to children. But once his kids had grown up, and y'all should remember that one of his daughters, or his only daughter, but one of the Shyamalan daughters is...
Two. He has two, but
okay.
Yeah, one is from, well... Sorry, I'm not like, Trace, how dare you? Because one of them is the lead in Trap.
That's what I was going to say.
And the other one fucking directs Servant.
Right. Oh, that was the one I forgot then. Okay. So they're both in the industry.
Yes.
But once his kids had grown up, he wanted to come back to the world of Unbreakable. And I'm not entirely sure what this means, so I'm just going to read it verbatim. But he said, because he was a young man when he wrote Unbreakable and was very masculine-oriented, now that his kids had grown up, he realized that those things that he was writing about during the Unbreakable time were valid again. And I'm like, valid again? Masculine? Like, I also don't get, like, I don't think Unbreakable is a treatise on masculinity.
I would disagree. I don't think it's like first and foremost about, David Dunn, Supermass, but it is about him being an imposing father figure and how he is failing his son. So I saw the featurette where M. Night gives, I think, abbreviated versions of some of this, but he basically says he was in this headspace where he was telling stories and they were dominated by men. And then he realized he could tell other stories that maybe involve some female characters for a change.
Yeah, well, we at least do get that here. And again, I'm just going to say, The Visit, great female protagonist.
Yeah, folks, you're still sleeping on The Visit. People continue to not talk about that, and it's definitely underrated.
Okay, I thought the same thing, and I was like, yeah, I feel like not a lot of people have seen it. Joe, that movie made $100 million.
Wild. Okay. Well, in that case, it did well, but people don't talk about it. Maybe that's what we feel like.
Well, it didn't spark a franchise because that is kind of where I think Split really connected with people.
Right.
But Shyamalan's intent was to do a movie where you watch it in one genre, a psychological thriller, but at the last moment of the movie, you realize that you're not watching that genre, but another genre. And in Unbreakable's case, an origin story, the comic book origin story. So you didn't realize you were watching it. It's basically the first act of what would become a trilogy of films.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to note, though, that Unbreakable is a Disney film and Split is a Universal film.
Right.
Shyamalan, there wasn't really any drama, apparently. He says Disney was really great and sweet and accommodating and that the two studios have worked really well together. But basically, it's kind of a Silence of the Lambs, like we're going to rent out Hannibal Lecter deal.
Okay.
It was agreed to allow the use of Bruce Willis's character in the film without a fee. And Shyamalan promised that Disney would be involved in a sequel if it developed. So that was the key there, though. It was like, okay, hey, if this is successful, we make a sequel, Disney, you will come back in, you'll co-distribute it with Universal. That is not what happened with Hannibal Lecter. Everyone go listen to our Hannibal episode.
Which one? We have so many, but yeah, the rights are entangled for that.
Yeah, and the Hannibal movie, not the show.
There we go.
Now with casting, I had no idea about this, and I don't think the news broke until last year when McAvoy was doing press for the Speak No Evil remake. But do you know that McAvoy was not the original person cast in this role?
I didn't.
I will tell you this. This is a pretty well-known actor, and he dropped out 2 weeks before shooting was set to begin. Okay. And this is not the first time this actor has done something like this.
Is it Joaquin Phoenix?
It is Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, look, I can play the game too, Trace.
Yeah, so Joaquin Phoenix was originally cast as Kevin. He dropped out 2 weeks before shooting was set to begin, and McAvoy then only had 2 weeks to prepare for this role.
Jesus Christ. And I remember this performance was so heavily lauded. I was on the Wikipedia page for the film, and he actually won Best Actor from a couple of different regional film critic guilds.
Even the negative reviews at least pointed out, like, McAvoy's really good in this, though. So
he is exceptional.
That's a person with DID. And again, we can debate whether he actually has DID or if it's part of the whole, like, supernatural thingamajig that we're talking about here. But I imagine a role that involves multiple personalities is like catnip for an actor.
If nothing else, just a feat to make sure that you're getting the accents, the mannerisms. Like in some sense, it's like, okay, how many characters do you want to play? Because that is definitely the challenge. I think the issue is, can you convincingly pull it off? Like, there are moments in this film where it is Dennis and Patricia, having kind of not just a conversation with themselves, but like having a conversation with the Betty Buckley character. And then you're like, oh my God, I can actually hear the different accents coming out. It is wild.
It's very, I mean, because people will say, oh, Shyamalan's doing he's doing Hitchcock in this. And I think there's a moment in this movie where, like the girls are listening to the door and it's basically Dennis and Patricia talking to each other. And I was like, oh, this is very Psycho.
It's Psycho.
Yeah, very much. Now, for Anya Taylor-Joy, now they apparently sought her out, but they wanted her without having her read the script.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, obviously a script like this, you're going to want to make sure that the secrets don't get out because part of its construction is figuring out what the fuck is going on and who this guy actually is. But I think that's wild that you're trying to lure a leading lady without giving her a script.
Well, and also because, at this point, Anya Taylor-Joy, we knew her from The Witch mainly, but I guess I was surprised they were like, hey, we want you. So I don't even know if she really auditioned for this because it was the same way with the other girls. We were like, we didn't get the script. We didn't know because everything about this was so top secret.
Yeah, can you imagine being on the plane to Philadelphia? Because, of course, this film is fucking shot in Philadelphia. Yeah. But, just being on the plane and being like, what am I going to perform in?
Yeah.
Having a sense, it's a new M. Night film, you're the star. You'll figure it out when you arrive.
Yeah. So either way, really cool and also really good for Anya Taylor-Joy because I do think she is really good in this movie.
Yes, I will agree, although I'll just sort of reiterate that I wish that there were other things for her to get to do. I do think that Casey as a character is the one who gets a little shortchanged here.
Do you mean... Oh, yeah. I not compared to the other two girls, but yes.
Oh, God. They're basically non-characters, even though I like both those actors.
Yeah, honestly, the protagonist of this movie is kind of Dr. Fletcher.
Yeah, for a large part, which does feel gently subversive when, we crush her to fucking death.
Yeah, we definitely do. But yeah, okay, so the visual look of Split is stylized in a very subtle way. It's very natural, but serious and moody. That was the look they were going for. And Shyamalan says, I was always inspired by independent cinema. I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? But he says, well, a movie that really, really influenced me in the way I shot this was It Follows. And a big part of that is because he also grabbed the cinematographer of It Follows, Michael Giolakis.
Yeah, I saw that in the featurette that I watched, and I thought, that is really interesting. Basically, M. Night saw the look of It Follows and says, I want to replicate that, and then actually gets the cinematographer. Yeah. And it's funny, he's got a little cheeky line where he says, it didn't hurt that he also said that he really liked Unbreakable.
Oh my God, of course.
It's okay, why don't you two just make jack-off motions at each other and then make a movie?
But you know what, though? The camera work in this movie is fantastic.
It's great. Yeah.
And then for production design, he got Mara Lepere-Schloop, who was the art director on True Detective, which I'm assuming that was season 1, which would have been...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as with Shyamalan's previous film, the 2015 found footage movie, The Visit, he funded Split himself, giving it a budget of $9 million. And I'm like, God, that must be nice.
Here's the thing. We have covered several M. Night films. Trace, get your thinking hat on. There is a game that's approaching you rapidly. But yeah, this is how he has survived after, those couple of setbacks where people basically wanted to turn their backs on him and make him a running joke. He came back and said, okay, well, I'm going to continue to make the movies I want, but he has self-funded all of the films since The Visit. And here's the thing. They make money, folks.
Yeah, they really do. Because The Visit was, he spent $5 million on that. It makes $100 million. So I'm sure he got a nice chunk of change out of that. And then this was, well, I'll get to the box office in a minute.
Yeah. Now, folks, gird your loins. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Now, despite that low budget, Shyamalan had a lot of connections in the city of Philadelphia that allowed them to shoot at locations that they wouldn't normally have been able to otherwise. So I think that's why we get the zoo at the end of this movie.
Yeah, which is... It's not a reveal, but it is a great soft reveal.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, wow, she's literally in the middle of Philadelphia under the zoo.
Not where you would have thought, although it does make perfect sense.
Yeah, thematically it does. Now, the first cut of Split was 3 hours long.
Would watch it.
I would too. Now, there are deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, and there's about 15 minutes of them. So I don't know what the other 45 minutes of deleted scenes would have entailed, but they're not like super enlightening, but I did want to highlight 3 deleted scenes because they have a character played by Sterling K. Brown, who is now no longer in the movie.
In this movie. No, okay. Are you going to tell me about them now or as we go through the plot?
I'm going to do it now because I don't think it's really important for the plot. So it basically, he plays like another therapist who's the neighbor of Dr. Fletcher, and they have more conversations. It really kind of highlights how lonely Dr. Fletcher is. So like when she goes over and he has a date, and like, you know, she's kind of being intrusive, but like there's one really good moment where she basically talks about why she thinks she's obsessed with patients with DID, and she says because she envies them because they're never alone. And I think it's a really good character moment, and it comes at the tail end of these Sterling K. Brown scenes. Again, there's 3 of them, like where she first goes to see him, then she goes to a party he's having, and then she kind of crashes a date he's on at his house. But yeah, he's good there, but ultimately Shyamalan was like, this isn't really like necessary if I really want to get this down to 2 hours.
Yeah, and I was going to say, this movie is nearly 2 hours, so as usual, when we talk about deleted scenes, it's often cut for pacing, right? So I do think we're getting quite a lot of Betty Buckley in here. And again, I think everybody in this movie is doing a great job, minus the 2 secondary lead actresses who just don't get enough time to do much of anything. Yeah. But like for our 3 co-leads, I think that they're all doing really good work. So it's tough.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would have liked to have Buckley have that moment where she like is really vulnerable, saying like, where you can really see her loneliness, because this is the life she has chosen.
Yeah, because you definitely get the sense that she is obsessed with DID, right? Like she's trying to publish on it. She's trying to do conference on it. She really wants to make her mark. But in the finished cut that we're watching, she seems to be more professionally driven. Like I don't fully understand why she got into this field, or specifically why she seems to be so aligned with Kevin, who is the I'm going to say the human version of James McAvoy, because all the others are alters. But of course, Kevin is the one that we almost never see. We only get a brief glimpse of him.
So I agree with you for the most part, but I do think it's professionally driven, but I don't think it's like out of selfishness. Like I do think she genuinely wants to help her patients.
Yeah, like if anything, she wants to, I guess, restore a kind of legitimacy to this, like, which is weird because by the time that this film comes out, DID was a known thing. I think in some ways there is this parallel to queerness and its depiction in popular culture where it's a misunderstood mental illness.
Are we calling being queer mental illness now?
Well, for a fucking long time it was, Trace.
Yeah, that is true, actually. And some people still think it is, actually.
Yeah.
So, Split has its world premiere, as I said, at Fantastic Fest on September 26th, 2016. I will say, also, because I got to review this for Bloody out of Fantastic Fest, and I did something really fun. Because obviously, like, they were like, please don't tell anyone this is an Unbreakable sequel. And I'm genuinely surprised that didn't get out beforehand, given how many people saw this in September.
Pretty wild, yeah.
In my review, I used the first letter of every paragraph to spell out Unbreakable.
Oh my God.
I know. I was really, really like committed back then.
Who's got the time for that kind of shit?
But y'all can go look it up. The first letter, it all spells out Unbreakable.
And you're so proud of yourself.
I'm really proud of myself, actually. I thought it was really clever. But all right, so it got a wide release on January 20th, 2017, alongside fellow newcomer Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage.
Ooh, that movie sucks shit.
But like, they all suck shit. So does it suck shit in a good way?
Okay, wait. Is that the one with Nina Dobrev?
Yes. It's the one that brings back Vin Diesel, because the second one was Ice Cube from like 2006 or something.
Yeah, okay. So that's also the last one then. Here's the thing. It is campy nonsense. I can't remember who the villain is. I want to say it's Toni Collette.
What?
It's somebody wild, like somebody very unexpected, but yeah, Vin Diesel is terrible in it, and it's a nonsense movie, but Nina Dobrev is actually very fun. She's his techie assistant, and then whoever plays the villain is very amusing.
Toni Collette's the CIA agent who brings him in for the job, but also I'm really like, now I want to watch this.
Oh, sorry. In that case, spoiler alert.
She's the secret villain. That's fine. But yeah, so Split opens in the #1 spot with $40 million.
Ooh.
Take that, January Curse.
And also Shyamalan naysayers. By the way, folks, if you haven't gathered, we are not even apologists. We just flat out like M. Night. So if you don't like it, that's your problem.
I think we say this on every Shyamalan movie we cover, but like basically,
it's because he still gets shit with every new movie.
And look, y'all, like literally, like every other film of Shyamalan's, I'm like, oh, this is really not very good. Like I really didn't like Knock at the Cabin at all. But an Old is kind of mediocre. We have an episode on that too. But for every shitty movie he makes another one that's really interesting. And even the shitty movies he makes, at least, are also really interesting and fascinating in some shape, way, or form. Like, they're not all one-star films.
No, and that's my big thing, is that people want to turn him into, oh, what's the twist? He's a big joke. And yeah, I'll agree with you. I think I am higher on several of the films that you just mentioned. But yeah, they're not all bangers, but he is always ready to take a big swing. And I love that he's self-funds, so he doesn't have to apologize to anybody.
Yeah, I honestly just respect the man a lot. And I will always go see a new Shyamalan movie, even if I'm pretty sure I'm going to hate it. Like, why not?
P.S. He has a new one coming out this year.
Stay tuned, everyone. But anyway, so with that opening weekend gross of $40 million, it was more than quadruple its $9 million production budget. So this was a bona fide success right out the gate, but it would remain in the number one spot for 3 weeks, holding off newcomers A Dog's Purpose and Resident Evil: The Final Chapter in its second week. And horror... I know. Well, The Final Chapter really bombed here in the United States, but it made so much money overseas. But
that's the thing. That's how those movies continued to persist.
And then the third week it held off. Oh my god, I also forgot this existed. The horror sequel Rings, the third The Ring movie,
which I've never seen and so want to, if only because of the opening sequence where the ring perpetuates itself on a fucking airplane. I just want to see that because it sounds like a great short, and then I'll just turn the movie off.
Now, honestly, I would say just go ahead and watch it. It's not like a big piece of shit. It's not a good movie, but like it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's not like a total disaster, because I've heard people just say, no, don't even waste your time with it.
It's I mean, again, it's not good, but like I would argue it is slightly better than like The Grudge 2. Actually, I would argue it's more entertaining than The Ring 2, but like...
Yeah, because here's the thing. I cannot deal with that fucking kid, and also those CGI deer in that second Ring movie.
The Ring 2,
I will never forgive.
It's just I mean, here's the thing. The Ring 2 is probably a better made movie. Like Rings has like, oh wow, like no one cared about this, but it's also shorter and it's not as boring. So,
you know what? Movies that bore me. I hate you so much.
Yeah. But nevertheless, Split ends its theatrical run with $138 million domestically and $140 million internationally for a worldwide gross of $278 million, which is more than 30 times its production budget.
I mean, find me other movies in that ballpark. There's probably a decent number of them that have managed to keep the budget very small and then have made massive amounts, but like... It is a rarefied field, and not everybody can pull that off.
Yeah, and I will say, too, when we look at Glass had a budget of $20 million. But even though it was not as well received as Split, we'll say, its total box office gross was only $30 million less than Split.
Still impressive.
Yeah,
he
really
delivers financially, man.
Now, Split was well received critically. We're looking at a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Letterboxd users have given this a 3.5 out of 5, which is actually exactly what I give it.
Yeah, I toggle somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
I like it. I find this just very entertaining, even if I do have some issues with it.
Now, speaking of those issues, so before I pass it off to you, Joe, I did want to point out that, yes, the reception from the mental health community regarding the depiction of DID...
Not good.
Yeah, they were not happy with it. And Empire Magazine asked Shyamalan if he was prepared for the controversy, and his reply was as such. And I'm just going to read this verbatim.
Okay.
So far, I've probably screened it for maybe 20,000 people, and there hasn't really been any controversy. For the people who've seen it, it lands. People who come to see my movies, you're coming to see a drama masquerading as a genre piece. People have hopefully figured that out by now. I make dramas, guys. Clearly it goes to fantasy at the end, but everybody wants controversy, but surprisingly, there's been very little. People have been enjoying it in the way it was intended, which I'm very happy about. What's really interesting about this disorder is that it is controversial. Even in the field, they're saying I'm not sure any of this is legit. A lot of people, I believe in it 100%. It's interesting. It's almost like what you're asking is what the field is asking themselves. How much of this is fact? How much of what you're saying can be proved?
I don't love parts of that. I appreciate that he's acknowledging that there is division within the actual scientific community and that they're still kind of figuring out how best to approach it.
Yeah, I think this is a case where it's like, could you just not have had a psychologist or a psychiatrist on set, or even like to go over the script with you to be like this, or is this like even a non-starter because he would have to change the entire script to match what would be medically accurate?
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's educated enough that I have to assume he did some work. Now, maybe this was, I did my own Facebook research and vaccines don't exist kind of thing. But like, clearly there are informed discussions that have a basic understanding of this disorder. I'm going to bring in a source over the course of the plot. I don't know what this individual's background, but the things that they were writing about. So it's Dean Buckley's piece, Notes on Split for the Sunday, as in ice cream sundae. Mm-hmm. And there's some really interesting pieces that I think can help us with the conversation as we move through the film. But yeah, like the film has a decent baseline that it's working off of, and then it's just a question of where does it sort of topple into the capital P problematic.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to say that before we get into it, but let's get into it, Joe.
Okay, so before we start, I'm just going to give you the heads up. We are now entering the game phase. So I've decided I'm going to name this game because we play it so often. So I'm calling it Repeat Offenders, which is where I would like you to tell me the other titles of individuals that we are talking about. So when we get to a particular actor, I'm going to ask you where we have seen them before in podcast episodes, Trace.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's your favorite game. Actually, it's my favorite game because you fare the worst at it.
I remember our podcast, like so little of our podcast, apparently. But y'all, we are in our 7th year of this show.
This is true. Here's the thing. You do much better than I ever would in your space, but it is fun to listen to you fumble sometimes.
Because I don't like losing.
Here's the thing. This one is going to stump you with a couple of these people because I was like, well, surely we've never seen this person before because who the fuck are they? Oh, yeah. No. Some of these people, it's like, yeah, we've seen them before.
I believe that. I believe it.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Welcome back to Silent Hill.
Did it, didn't you, Jimmy? You woke him up.
Based on the groundbreaking video game Silent Hill 2.
No one said it would be easy.
Get tickets now for Return to Silent Hill, exclusively in theaters January 23rd.
Okay, so I'll give you a softball because guess what? We have never seen Haley Lou Richardson. Well, we've seen her numerous times in other things, but we have never covered one of her other titles. The closest we get is White Lotus Season 3. She's in White Lotus Season 2.
Yeah, I Haley Lou Richardson, because this isn't to me like a good. I mean, she's good in this movie, but like it's not a good display of her talents because I just find her to be such a charming actress.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that movie Support the Girls, where it's like her and Regina Hall and they work at a Hooters type restaurant?
I haven't seen it, but I heard amazing things about it.
Really, really, really good movie. Big recommend on that, y'all.
Okay, yeah, and obviously I do think most people are familiar with her from White Lotus Season 2, but yeah, so here we open the movie with her character, Claire. It is her birthday, and we can very clearly see that there is a mercy invite in Casey. This would be the Anya Taylor-Joy character, and she's there because we invited everybody from the class, so we didn't want to have anyone stand out or feel, isolated, even though Casey has kind of done that herself here in the restaurant.
Yeah. But immediately, because there was another deleted, well, not a delete, well, I guess it would be deleted, but yeah, basically where the film starts more so from Casey's perspective, and where it's like we're seeing a bunch of footage, we're looking around this mall, and then we hone in on Casey, and like she's sitting in a chair, and someone bumps her, and so we're kind of getting a feel for her. And Shyamalan said he removed that from the opening because he didn't want the audience to be too familiar with with Casey this early in the film.
Okay.
He still wanted an air of like mystique around her as we learn about her and her assault as the film goes on.
Right. Yeah, because part of this, I mean, she looks like Anya Taylor-Joy, so she looks like a fucking model. But she's very clearly not engaged. Like, people aren't making an effort to talk to her. I'm not going to lie. It was giving me Five Nights at Freddy's 2 flashbacks, and I did not enjoy that drama for myself. But yeah, like, she's here at this party, and yet she is very clearly not at the party. But then things are wrapping up, and everybody else is leaving, and we're waiting for her ride that doesn't seem to be coming. So this is where we get a little bit of insight from Claire, as well as her bestie, Marcia, who is played by Jessica Sula. And they're kind of like, fuck, this is why you don't invite people like Casey. Claire's dad is a little bit more appropriate. Hey, let's make sure everybody gets home safe. So he is played by Neil Huff, and he says, okay, well, we're just going to drive her home.
Yeah, which any good parent should do.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So we're establishing this guy's good. There is a parent on scene. So, hey, everybody, let's get into the car. But Trace, before we talk about the abduction scene, play my game.
Oh my God, it's Anya Taylor-Joy, right?
Well, it's Anya Taylor-Joy, but it's also, let's start with a tough one, Jessica Sula. Where have we seen her before? Okay,
this is bizarre because I definitely looked her up when I was watching this movie, and the only thing that I was like, oh, I recognize that was Malum, the remake of, oh my God, like Last Shift or something, but
yes,
I don't know anything else we would have talked about her in.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's not a film, it's TV.
Oh, God damn it. Can you give me another hint?
I'll give you one that should be very easy for you because we're so early on. Has a toxic fandom.
Scream? Oh, was she in that third season of Scream?
She is the lead of Scream Season 3, the TV show.
What? Ooh, I don't remember her in that at all.
I don't remember her at all.
Oh, no.
But remember, it was, I think, a brother-sister pair, so she's the sister.
If you say so.
I mean, speaking of trauma, we've repressed a lot. So
that is a piece of garbage season of television.
There we go. Okay, so do the easier one. Anya Taylor-Joy, where have we talked about her before?
Okay. Of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is The Witch. It's like, well, we haven't covered The Witch
no.
yet. Well, definitely Glass.
Yes.
Okay. I forgot the New Mutants in one of our previous games, so I'm not forgetting that now.
Uh-huh. You got two more. Both Patreon.
Oh, the Northmen.
Yes, one more. She's so delicate. She could be almost edible.
Oh, the menu, the burger.
The menu.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
Yeah, she's had a very diverse career in a short amount of time.
Wait, Joe, there's another one.
Is there another one?
Mm-hmm. And it's one that it's a movie that you did not like and I thought was okay.
I mean, that is not a helpful hint.
It's a director that you have not really liked any of his work for the past 15 years.
Oh, she's in Nosferatu.
No, she's not.
She's not.
But it is Last Night in Soho.
Last Night in Soho. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I know you and Edgar Wright, like current Edgar Wright, are not getting along.
No. He and I have been in, as you mentioned, a long-standing feud for many years now.
It's okay. I just wish he would start writing things with Simon Pegg again.
Right? Yeah.
Okay,
so let's talk about the abduction scene. We go out to the parking lot. I love the switch to this unknown person's POV as we come up on the dad while he's putting the party favors into the trunk. And then we hear but don't see someone get into the driver's seat. And of course, Claire and Marcia are not paying any attention. But Casey is. And immediately the choice in how to frame action and what we do and don't see is just like, it's really creating a mystery.
Well, and it's already showing how attentive Casey is, because she doesn't see Kevin get in the car, she sees the drop bag of groceries or whatever, food that the dad had dropped to the trunk. And that's what makes her, again, love Shyamalan's work here, where we just get this slow turn to see who's in that driver's seat.
Yeah. And this is our introduction to, of course, James McAvoy. I'm going to do my best to name the alters.
Yeah.
This is a little bit like playing Who's the Killer committing which murder in a Scream film. Like, which alter is this actually? So I'm assuming that this is actually Dennis. He is one of the two dominant personalities that has taken over Kevin's body from Barry, who is the one who is meant to be the de facto leader.
Yeah, I would guess that as much as well. And I will say, I don't know what you make of Dennis. Like, do you think that he and Patricia are co-conspirators? Because
yes,
Shyamalan thinks that Dennis was actually indoctrinated by Patricia. So, like, while they are co-conspirators, he's still working under her thumb.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't get that impression. I definitely get that they are kind of thick as thieves. But, I mean, Patricia does have a dominating personality for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he climbs into the car. And of course, this is when Claire and Marcia realize, hey, that's not my dad. Hey, that's not your dad. And he just slowly, methodically puts on this mask and then just sprays them with gas in the face and they're knocked out. But I love that he doesn't even immediately notice Casey. It goes to this idea that she is almost invisible. So she waits, she bides her time, hoping not to be noticed, and she would have made it if not for the car door sound when she goes to open it and it goes ding ding.
She the thing is, she should have like booked it out of there instead of opening it slowly. Like that should have been the thing. But
yeah,
you know, hindsight's 20/20.
Here's the thing. I don't think she would have made it regardless of what she did.
This
guy was going to grab her.
Well, she would have at least made it in the parking lot and could scream or something before he grabbed her. But like,
sure, victim blame. Yeah, go for it.
I'm just saying, like, she wouldn't have gotten sprayed in the face right away.
So I've been obviously covering a lot of true crime with Jen on my other podcast, and it's been really fascinating because right now we're in the middle of Mindhunter season 1 coverage. Yeah. So we read John Douglas's book, which informs that David Fincher series, but he's got this one terrifying excerpt where he talks about like what women who are being sexually assaulted or like in danger of being murdered should do. And the reality is that there isn't a right way to do it, because you could try to go with it and hope that they'll just let you go. But then they might say, oh, well, you're a slut and we're going to kill you. Mm-hmm. Or you could try to run and like fight them off, but then that might just anger them and then they kill you. So it's like, cool. There's actually no good way to approach somebody like a Dennis character.
Right. You're just going to get kidnapped.
You're probably going to get kidnapped. Yeah. Sorry, I hope that doesn't alarm anybody. The book does have other strategies, and I would encourage you to check it out.
Well, this is why, though, when it comes to horror movies and people like taking issue over character decisions in moments of stress, I'm always like, y'all, like, you don't know what you would do in these situations for real. And also, like, no one knows the outcome of their actions, which is why there's so many, like, I can't imagine being in the scenario and again trying to decide what is my next move here, and I have to make it quick.
Yeah, and I do think that the film gets good mileage out of, like, there's advantage to having 3 different girls. I would argue that Marcia doesn't get as much to do because she is mostly just freaked out. Yeah. But there's a very strong difference of opinion between Claire saying, oh God, we were victims. Why didn't we fight back? The 3 of us maybe could have done something if we had have acted together. And Casey saying, we don't have enough information, so I'm not prepared to act on that because I don't want to just get killed. He could hurt us. And I think both of those opinions are actually completely valid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just, but Casey definitely comes across as the most calm, cool, and collected during all of this for reasons that we will discover.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody ends up gassed, and then we go into the credits, and we get little kind of interstitials almost, where we get to see that they're being wheeled down in carts to someplace kind of undergroundish, or at least it's got a medical facility kind of vibe to it. So you're like, all right, so they've been taken somewhere and they're going to be imprisoned, and then here we go. But Trace, before we proceed any further, James McAvoy.
Oh my God.
Play the game.
Okay, definitely Speak No Evil, because I know I mentioned that.
There's a sequel to this film.
Oh yeah, Glass. It Chapter 2 for sure.
There you go. I think those are the 3.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. I did want to note, just because people have said, oh, we want you to kind of call out people who are being pieces of shit. So I did just want to acknowledge, when I was looking through his upcoming projects, I'm actually quite disappointed that he's going to be participating in the Harry Potter audiobooks, because that's just funding a certain... world-destroying transphobe. So
maybe he has Keira Knightley's excuse. Keira Knightley said, I wasn't aware of the controversy.
Oh my fucking God. Get out of here. Okay, moving on. So after the credits, Casey wakes up. She's in a locked room, but the other girls are there with her. So we're all still together. This is when Dennis enters, I assume, and I wanted to highlight this because, again, if we're thinking about how do women react in these situations, if you look at how Marcia reacts in this moment, you can see she's wearing a relatively short skirt and she tries to tug it down to cover more of her legs. And this actually catches Dennis's attention, so that's why he grabs her and says, okay, you're first.
Oh, and I love, though, that Casey is telling her to pee on herself.
Yeah, because it grosses him out. He can't sexualize her, because we will come to realize that Dennis is actually a pedophile who gets in trouble for making young girls dance.
And he has OCD.
He does also have OCD. So yeah, it's like this is going to gross him out. He's going to have a hard time sexualizing it. So yeah, she just immediately gets brought back in. But this also gives us vital information about Casey. Okay, so she's not just calm. She's really smart. She seems to have her head on her shoulders for how best to proceed.
Well, and that's where too, okay, just to go back in the sexual assault of it all, like, because I can glean from this that this is probably a tactic that Casey has used in her experiences with her uncle before.
Right. I'm
very glad that we don't have to witness one of these moments in these flashbacks and be like, oh, that's where she learned. It's understood.
Yeah. You piece it together the more you come to understand of Casey. And I will say the scene where we get confirmation that she has been sexually assaulted at least once, but I mean, you can take it to its logical extent by her Uncle John, I find very upsetting. Like, Shyamalan is not showing us most anything, and yet just the implications of it are devastating.
It's all very, very, you don't need to show any more than what's in these flashbacks.
Yeah. Okay, so we should note this is actually when we get our first flashback. So we jump into the past when Casey is a young girl. She's played by Izzy Coffey in these flashbacks, and she's at a restaurant with her father, Sebastian Arcellus, and her uncle John, Brad William Henke, and they're talking about hunting. So, okay, another piece of information about who Casey is and how she was raised. But Trace, play my game. Brad William Henke.
Dude, I was looking at him and I was like, I know this guy from something. And
For me, it's Orange is the New Black.
So I watched the first season of that, but not the rest of it.
I think he's in it. He's one of the guards.
Probably so. But so we've definitely covered something with him in it.
Mm-hmm. Just one.
Just one.
Again, I'll give you another hint. It's television.
I have no idea what this would be. I have no idea.
Okay, so he plays Tom Cullen in the Stand miniseries remake.
Oh, God. Okay, you have to forgive me for not remembering The Stand.
I mean, we should all be so happy to forget that exists.
God, I forgot. Man, honestly, too, I don't even think that's what I know him from. I've definitely seen him before.
All right, well, you can look it up after we're done.
It's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So after this flashback, we introduce our other character. So this would be older lady Dr. Karen Fletcher, played by Betty Buckley. And she hears but doesn't really react to the kidnapping. So she comes home and she turns on the news and we see that the story is playing that 3 girls have been kidnapped. But she's too distracted because she has received an urgent email request for a therapy session from Barry S.
I actually love this introduction too, because I think you can probably gather that she's the Barry is James McAvoy, but this really comes out of nowhere because I also don't even think she was really in the marketing that much. So I don't know how much I knew Betty Buckley, who again, everyone, the gym teacher that dies in the original Carrie. I don't even remember if I knew that she was in this before I saw it because
really.
This is not her first Shyamalan film. She was in The Happening.
Yes, she was. Yeah. Okay. So The Happening will not help you because we have not covered on the pod. But what else have we talked about her?
Well, we definitely talked about her in Carrie.
Yes.
Oh my God. Wait. No, she's a therapist in something else because she's bad in it. Oh my God. It's a hold on. Wait. Don't. I'm gonna get this one. I picture this movie. Imaginary.
Yes, folks. If you have forgotten about that, that's another one that you can forget. It's not worth remembering.
Yeah.
There we go. So, okay, we cut back to the cell, and this is where Claire is really talking about how they should have tried to do something more. So she's kind of kicking herself that they just let themselves be kidnapped. And folks, no, don't blame yourself for something bad happening to you. It's like, no, you should be blaming Dennis because he's the individual who got into your car and gassed you.
I do like in this news report that Fletcher's watching too, they do give confirmation that Claire's dad did survive, so he was not killed.
Oh, okay. Interesting, because we get reports later on that people did die, and I was like, oh, good to know, I guess.
Well, but, Claire definitely dies, but...
Yes. Okay, so this is where we get Casey saying, I'm not going to do anything until I'm got more information, until I'm confident about what we do and don't know. So this doesn't sit well with Claire or Marcia, but, Casey will not be persuaded. So interspersed with this is another flashback where we talk about the difference between does and bucks. So does, obviously a female deer. Everybody go back to your, hills are alive. But, I guess I thought it was interesting because we specifically gendered this discussion with young Casey and her father, where she's like, and I'm a girl, like, I'm smarter than the boys. And it's kind of like, yes, which means that you hypothetically should be able to get away from this guy if only he was only male.
Yeah.
Because he's got Patricia working for him. So
I guess that's our queer component to this, too.
It's that, and obviously Barry, who seems very clearly queer-coded fashion designer. But, how much of Barry we actually see is up for grabs, because technically it's usually Dennis or Patricia impersonating him.
Yeah, I would argue we only see Barry like that one time. I remember my disappointment with this film the first time I saw it was that we see a fraction of his personalities, and we'll see like clips of the others whenever we get to that computer with all the video files on them. But I remember just wanting more of the personalities in this movie. Now, on a rewatch, I was less bothered by this, but I still would have taken more.
I think that the story does a really good job of clarifying why we don't, and it's because these two characters, as well as Hedwig, are the dominant personalities, but they're also the horde. So those are the ones who want to bring the beast forward, whereas presumably all the other personalities are kind of docile and they don't have any relationship to these events. So they wouldn't be involved in any of this.
Yeah. Although we do the visualization of what it's like inside his brain was what Fletcher will tell us is that it's like they're all sitting in a round table in a room in some chairs.
Which is how we set things up in Glass. That's what the Sarah Paulson character recreates.
See, I forgot all about that.
Now I'm doing the thing. Okay, yes. So back to the present. Casey says, nope, we're not going to do anything until we know more. We cut to Karen's office as we see Barry, in quotation marks, arrive. He's got fashion sketches, but he seems to be moving, speaking, and acting differently than any other time that Dr. Fletcher has had a meeting with him. So they kind of do this back and forth. It's almost banter where you can tell that she is suspicious of him and he is trying to put on a performance to reassure her. So yeah, he's totally doing fine. Work is going totally well. We do get name drops of he has a disorder. We notice that he is referring to himself using both I and we pronouns. So we're gathering pieces of information. This is Shyamalan planting seeds for us to pick up who actually is this man.
But Fletcher, I mean, catches on pretty early on. Like, she seems pretty dead set on the idea this is not actually Barry, but she doesn't press him to like, she does a little bit, but she gives up.
Yeah, and I have a question. I'm curious. Do you get frustrated that Fletcher doesn't try to intervene or take action earlier? Because she does seem suspicious, but it also doesn't seem like she ever truly believes that he's a danger to anyone.
That's the thing. So again, on the first viewing, I was like, this is a terrible therapist. Like, what an awful, awful, awful woman.
Right.
But also, like, now I'm aware, like, the therapist can't just, like, force their patients to do something or confess something. Like, that would break the trust of their relationship. And so I think, because she doesn't actually believe, she has no reason to believe that he has 3 girls locked up under the Philadelphia Zoo that he's going to kill in a little bit. Like, there's no reason for her to press this any faster. But we, the audience, know that. And so we're like, no, press him.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, she is only clocking the frequency. He keeps requesting these emergency therapy sessions day after day. And typically he doesn't do that. They have a standing set appointment once a week. So she understands that he is in crisis, but she can only press him so much.
Yeah.
And she has to spend most of these meetings dancing around the fact that this isn't Barry. So she's actually trying to figure out who is in there, who is acting, or as we say in this film, who is in the light.
And I do think that Buckley toes the line between, like, sincerity and patronizing pretty well throughout the film. Because sometimes when she's, like, doing in her explaining mode, I'm like, oh, it sounds like we're talking down to him a little bit, but then, like, just like the cadence of her voice sounds more sincere.
Yeah, I think she's always trying to reassure whichever alter, because as we said, she doesn't know exactly who it is. So it's very difficult for her to figure out, okay, does this person actually understand what's going on? And of course, it's also to our benefit as an audience because we need to get the therapy speak in here. Like, what is DID? What does that mean? Okay, what should we be keeping an eye out for? So I think you could say some of this is a little bit clunky or ungainly, but I actually feel like if you didn't have a decent understanding of what DID is, I'm not going to say that this film excels at clarifying it, but it does at least give you that baseline knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst explanation for it I've seen. Like, I think, it does what it can in 2 hours. It's a genre film. That's what we're dealing with here, right?
Well, no, Trace, it's a drama with genre trappings,
right?
As M. said.
Exactly.
No, yeah. And first and foremost, it's aiming to tell an entertaining story. And it's tough for me because I don't want to come down super hard on this film for misrepresenting DID. And again, that's why we started this conversation off by saying we can't justifiably say, is this super offensive? Because obviously, there were many people who did take offense to it or they thought it was dangerous. Mm-hmm. Part of my response is that I think of the way things like the queer killer or the trans killer have been represented, right? We've had a ton of conversations about how damaging that is to the community. But I think it's also, I don't know, like this does feel gently into Silence of the Lambs territory for the DID audience, where because this film is so fucking successful, there were probably a ton of casual viewers who were like, I don't know what DID is, but oh my God, it's a 24 personality person and one of them's a fucking rapist pedophile.
Yeah, and I mean, my thoughts on this because I'm aware of the conversation on intent versus impact, and I know for a lot of people the impact matters the most, and I totally understand that. And I do agree, but for me, when I'm like wanting to like cut people a little slack when it comes to things like this, I'm just like, I don't think Shyamalan's intent here was to be like, oh man, let's really exploit DID.
No, but I do think he is traversing in some very well-trodden territory.
Yes.
Like, I do think that that's part of the reason why this sticks out is because it's a more contemporary and yes, very popular, very, financially successful example, but also because we have seen a huge history of this. Like, folks, there are so many films where it's like, oh my God, this person has multiple personality because that's what we called it before, DID, and it's like one of them is a fucking killer.
Well, like how many times was schizophrenia conflated with DID?
Exactly.
Because I feel like for most of my childhood, I thought like split personality was schizophrenia, and that is very much not correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for a lot of Hollywood texts, it's just really simple to kind of throw out this term. Oh, most people who heard of schizophrenia are like nowadays, multiple personality or DID. So it's a bit of a shorthand to get to what Shyamalan wants to explore, which is, I think he's actually more interested in this. Okay, well, what if one of them had superpowers?
Yeah.
Could you convince yourself, if you were a person who was living with this condition, if you imagine that you were a beast, could you climb the wall? Wouldn't that be interesting? How do we take that into an entertainment storytelling perspective?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so he ends up leaving fairly quickly. Dennis does. Dennis as Barry, because that's who this is.
Yep.
But he maintains that nothing has really happened. So it's kind of like, oh, I don't really know why I booked this emergency appointment. So she is very suspicious. And then we have her, I'm assuming neighbor, because it's this woman who is definitely watching patients come and go. But she's only credited as game show enthusiast.
Yeah, I mean, I did love her yelling at the people that were spinning the wheel of Fortune with their thumb. Yeah, I was like, you can't use your thumb to spin the wheel, dumbass.
Okay.
But, and again, this maybe was the shorthand then, since we lost all of the Sterling K. Brown scenes, where it's like, okay, this is then her life. This is her only friend. They watch Wheel of Fortune together, and other than that, she has no one else. But you also, I think, could cut this scene, and it wouldn't really make much of a difference.
I think so. This seems to be in here to tackle a kind of layperson's idea of, oh, okay, well, these people don't have a real condition. Like DID, that's not a real thing. It's just people who are, blah, 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 blah. Like, so I think it's important that we have Dr. Fletcher saying, no, I believe these people.
Right.
Their problems are real, and I think we can do real work. Like, it goes to the advocacy work that she ultimately wants to do with her conference talks and that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So back in the cell, the girls listen as it seems like, hey, there's a woman in the mix. Maybe we can get this individual to help us. So this is Patricia. She is speaking to Dennis. But when the door opens, it's the same man who abducted them, just wearing a string. Well, it's not a string of pearls. It's a necklace.
It's a necklace.
And again, I think that for a lot of folks, it's like, oh, shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Right. It's a cross-dresser. It's a blah term that we don't use anymore. And it's only as Casey begins to collect evidence, like she really puts it together when we're introduced to Hedwig, which is the third dominant personality, which is the child version. But she understands that these are all different people. So this is not Dennis putting on women's clothes and using a feminine affect. This is a female identity that just happens to live within this body.
Yeah. And I don't remember seeing much uproar about that part of it, the cross-dressing part of it.
Don't think so. No, because you very quickly do understand that this is a DID situation. So it's not as if this is a person who puts on women's clothing and then sexually assaults young girls. Like, that's not what's going on.
But is it that different from Norman Bates in Psycho? Because he did have a split personality as well.
Well, and this is why I think a lot of people do compare this film to Psycho, because, yeah, they really are very similar. But that film, by coming out in 1960,
right,
is the one that breaks the rules, and it's the one that everybody remembers. And as we talked about in our episode, people fucking confuse what Norman's issues are in that movie. They don't pay attention to what the psychologist says at the end.
I was like, even though the psychologist is like, no, he doesn't want to be a woman.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So Patricia seems to be a little bit more reassuring, where she says that he is not allowed to touch them, but, we're also going to start laying a foundation that the reason they can't touch these girls is because they are gifts or they're food or something else.
They are sacred food. At which point I'm like, for what?
Yeah. That's not the language that Patricia uses. It's actually, I think, what Dennis says when he brings them into the bathroom later. But yeah, it's like, oh, shit, there's somebody else coming. We start to say he is coming, or, he will be here soon. Okay, so we go for a walk with Dr. Fletcher, and she's got this colleague, Joe, who is played by Robert Michael Kelly. Don't worry, you don't have to play the game because we have never met this person. And this is more just background story on her, where she, her paper or her conference talk has been incorrectly slotted into the mood disorder category, and that's not what her patients have. So she is trying to clarify what is DID and how can she best make the scientific community or the medical community understand. So we do get some very M. Night stuff here, though, because he says that she is suggesting these individuals are, quote, supernaturally gifted, like they have powers or something. And I will confess, I didn't know that this was connected to Unbreakable, so I never clocked this language. But when you know, or you're listening for it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's how we're bridging this gap, because this is a world that is the same world as Unbreakable. So superheroes exist.
That's actually, I have not rewatched this since I knew it was an Unbreakable film. And so, yeah, I guess that's true. Because I did clock this line of dialogue as well, where it's like, oh, well, when you know it's an Unbreakable film, actually a lot of the little clues in here really,
they make sense.
Yeah, they all come together.
Yeah, which is why when you said, oh, he had this character in mind back in the days of Unbreakable, it makes total sense, because this was, in some ways, always planned as a legacy sequel.
Yeah, yeah. Which, oh my God, it's wild, right? It's like 16 years later.
Yeah. Okay, so this is when Karen drops the first mention of DID specifically. So she does use the term, which surprised me, because I could have sworn we were still talking about the multiple personalities at this time, but
DID.
Nope. The proper term, so that's great.
I think, did you ever watch that show, The United States of Terror with Toni Collette?
Yes, we have talked about this before.
Yeah,
we both quite like it.
I think they call it DID on that show too, right?
Okay, so maybe the term was being embraced earlier than I realized.
But maybe not as widely. Like maybe. If it was because that show was about DID.
But it was also a small show.
Yeah, it was Showtime.
Not a ton of people watched it.
Yeah, but you got 3 seasons out of it and some great Toni Collette performances out of it.
It's true. And then she went on to star in that Xander Cage sequel.
Honestly, I'm so excited.
Okay, so in this conversation, Karen kind of finishes this off by saying that some of her patients have actually changed their brain chemistry based on the alters. So we're planting this idea that people can physically transform based on who is in control or in the light.
Well, or how much they believe it, because this to me goes back to that old wives' tale about, a mother can lift a car off of her child if she wills it so much. And so this is playing in that same kind of sandbox for me.
I think so, yeah. Okay, so this is where I'm going to bring in Dean Buckley for the notes on Split piece. So they say, Split shows its awareness of the DID controversy and utterly massacres any of the goodwill it could have possibly earned. So this individual likes the film, but feels like the film really falls down on this particular point. So Dr. Fletcher isn't just a psychiatrist, she's also an activist for 2 claims that she always treats as one claim, and this is part of the issue for Buckley. So the claim is that DID is a real mental illness in the traumagenic model, i.e., this is me now elaborating on that. So DID that is caused by a trauma, which is what we're suggesting has happened to Kevin. So Kevin is a survivor of childhood sexual assault. We'll get a brief flashback that his mother was very abusive to him. And so he develops alters like Dennis, like Patricia, and the Beast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's one model. There's like a different model that isn't based on the trauma, but that's what this film is presupposing.
Got it.
So Buckley then says the issue with the film is that Dr. Fletcher also makes this other claim and we conflate them. So the other claim is that people with DID can change their physiology to match their alter. So that is not real. That is not a thing that happens in real life. So this is something entirely constructed and made up for this movie. But because we're always mixing the one thing, like DID, real illness that afflicts people, and then this suggestion that, they can alter their physiology and become, people who climb walls. It's like, by suggesting those are one and the same, this film really undercuts its message, because it's like, we're trying to tell you it's real, but then we're also feeding you this bullshit for entertainment.
And that's the thing where it's like, Split on its own, I can see, like that is capital P problematic. But when you add Glass to it, which really goes into, no, these are superheroes, this is a supernatural thing, that for me kind of maybe doesn't fix the issues, the problematic nature of Split, but it's again adding that fiction, it's adding fantasy to a very real thing, which I guess in and of itself could be problematic, or could be seen as problematic. But
but I think it does take it further away from the big issue that Split is front and center confronting, right? So when we just take Split as its own film, it's not doing a great job of this. It's causing undue complications to people's understanding of DID. Like it's using it strictly for entertainment purposes and not great.
Well, or if the climax made it very clear that this was supernatural and not physiological, like medical, which the end of this movie does seem to lean towards that. No, this is like a physiological thing that he's doing. It's not supernatural.
Exactly. Yeah. But you're right. When you watch Glass or you put them together as a pair, you're like, oh, never mind. This actually, like, the reason he becomes the Beast and can do all of this stuff is because he's like super powered. Now, it doesn't get away from this idea that, oh, well, if you've got DID, one of them could be potentially murderous.
Right.
Which is, I think, the main criticism that this film received. And it's very similar to the trans killer or the queer killer. But I never get the impression that the film is saying, well, if you've got this, you're more likely to be violent. It's something that society internalizes, unfortunately. So we say, oh, these people are locked up and they're more likely to try to kill you. When in fact, the reverse is true. People who suffer from DID and other mental illnesses are much more likely to be harmed or hurt by people.
But that's then where, okay, and this is maybe where I'm not clear on it, where I almost view it where it's Kevin doesn't actually have DID. His personalities are his superpower. And so, or are we talking about a man where he does have DID and one of his personalities has a superpower?
I think it's the latter. That's how I take it.
See, and like that is a bit less good.
Yeah. it's very much like, okay, this is fiction. This is an M. Night.
But I also don't know if either of this, and I granted, I have not watched Glass since we covered it back in 2019, so I don't know how much of a better job that movie does of kind of like parsing through these waters. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like neither film does a good job of really distinguishing or explaining it.
Yeah, I don't remember Glass well enough either. Folks, I'd be curious to hear if anybody has rewatched Glass recently or if you're inspired to after this conversation. Do reach out and let us know.
Yeah, and on the record, I liked Glass. I didn't think it was as bad as everyone said it was, but
I remember being frustrated by the ending. And I'm not going to spoil it just in case people haven't seen it because you said it made a lot of money, but I do feel like that is a film people definitely don't talk about anymore.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to the film, in the cell, this is where Dennis talks about the sacred food. We're in the toilet. It's very clear that he also does have some other conditions, like the OCD is pretty clearly on display because he doesn't like that they're unclean or he wants them to keep things separate in the toilet and so on. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have a slow pan of Fletcher's files, which settles on Hedwig. So we can see that each file has a different name. So one of them is Dennis, one of them is Patricia. The final one is Hedwig. And we can see that there's a child's drawing of a kind of beast-like monster with blood. And this is when we cut to Casey waking up and her introduction to Hedwig. So obviously James McAvoy completely changes the posture. There's a kind of childish lisp to this, and the costume is also changed helpfully visually. It's like, oh, okay, this is a windbreaker. So
yeah, he's like Georgie from It.
A little bit. Yeah. So this is where Hedwig starts to talk about, he is on the move, and Casey starts to piece it together that these are all individual personalities. So she tries to negotiate. She doesn't force this too strongly. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to rush by this kid and get out to freedom. So she tries to lure him in and get a better sense of who he is. So this is where we learned that Dennis was actually only after Claire and Marcia. So Casey was an unexpected bystander in all of this, which definitely makes sense. We learned that he was watching them for a while, quite some time.
Right? Yeah.
Which makes sense because, like, how else are you going to know when to attack and, like, how best to execute this plan? But it's very creepy. And then Casey insinuates to Hedwig that Patricia could still be mad at him because we understand that Hedwig is working in collaboration with Patricia and Dennis, but, he's not supposed to be talking to them. He's not supposed to have taken the light away from Dennis in this moment.
Because I think I heard something like this. Maybe I misheard it, but because he says he can take the light whenever he wants, is what I gather from this, and that's why. So Patricia, I think, given a choice, really wouldn't want to use Hedwig, but she needs Hedwig because he can take that light.
100%. So what we eventually learn over the course of the film is that Barry is the dominant personality. So this is our queer-coded fashion designer, and he's a great leader, and he's usually like super good at this. He's always in control, but Hedwig can take the light whenever they want. So Patricia and Dennis, who are firm believers in the beast, end up using Hedwig. So they kind of make a deal to say, hey, why don't the three of us take control of this? We'll boot Barry to the back seat, and then we'll pilot this. But it is like, that's the main reason why they use Hedwig.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he fucks up every once in a while because he's a child.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So she works at getting more information, but, she says, well, we could be your babysitters. Why don't we all leave? And this freaks him out. So he ends up running away, and we're still locked in the cell. So one thing that Claire noted when Hedwig was talking is that he mentioned making the room safe. So they fan out, they start to chop on the drywall because they recognize that it's fresh. So Claire ends up finding some kind of weakness in the ceiling. She starts to bang on it with her high-heeled shoe. We find it great, except, I think Hedwig is gone and somebody new is taken over because Dennis is trying to open the door. So the other two brace it. Claire ends up going for it. So she climbs up through these vents down into halls full of all these pipes. She can hear Dennis calling after her. She doesn't know where she's going. She locks herself in a locker room. It's prom night 2. Hello, Mary Lou.
Yeah, she should have maybe gone a little bit further before she decided to drop down into a room, because that's the other thing that Casey does think about, where it's like, hey, if we get out of this room, what next? Like, how do we get out of this place that we are in? And Claire doesn't think about that.
Yeah, because Marcia, when she's taken out to, potentially be sexually assaulted before she pees on herself, she comes back in and she notes there's another door right there. So even if they broke past Hedwig, they wouldn't be able to get past the next door. So Claire's like, okay, well, I'll just go over into the next room. But the problem is, like, none of them know where they are. So she's running around blind. So I totally understand why it's like, okay, yeah, I would have stayed in the vents a little longer as well. But again, we're not judging this character for their decision making. Yeah. When she locks herself in the locker, it is a huge moment of panic for me, because I just think, oh, girl, you have no idea what is coming. So thankfully, it's just Dennis, but he makes her take off her shirt because she has gotten dust on it. He makes Marcia take off her skirt because she's gotten dust in it. But also, because Claire has run away, she is separated for the rest of the film.
And Dennis tells her, like, you shouldn't trick children. That shows who you are. And I want to be like, okay, but you just kidnapped some girls, dude. Like, come on.
Also, you're a pedophile. So let's not be pointing fingers, Dennis, even though I love your accent and your little slutty glasses. Okay, so we hop back to Dr. Fletcher's Skype presentation. So she is doing a Q&A kind of panel. Again, she's just advocating for DID.
Sir, this is not Skype. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It is Skype. Oh, my God, never mind. No, I wrote Zoom in my notes, but I remember she very clearly says Skype. So I just had Zoom on the brain, I guess.
You know why? It's because the rise of Zoom didn't happen until the pandemic, when it really became a, are we using Teams? Are we using Skype? Or are we using Zoom? Dear Lord, who could care?
Right? Like, Split's already dated. Already, it's almost 10 years old, but because they're using Skype instead of Zoom.
Truly, yeah. If this movie was remade today, it would have been Zoom for sure. Okay, so she's fielding questions, and this is where she says, like, identities can take the light, but they can do it at the same time. And I do think that that's really important, because I feel like for the majority of the rest of the film, it is Dennis and Patricia doing a bit of a two-hander. It's not vitally important, but I just think James McAvoy modulates his performance to suggest that both of those personalities are often driving.
Yeah, no, I would think so. We just see less of Patricia. I think we see the most of Dennis in this movie.
I think so, but there were a number of times where I wrote Dennis in my notes, but then you would get the cadence of Patricia.
So that British accent, yeah.
Yeah. We also learned that they can have different IQs and strengths. So the strength, I think, is meant to foreshadow the arrival of the beast. But I think the IQs also, it's kind of like, okay, can you potentially exploit some of this if you are Casey? Because obviously, Hedwig is a little boy who's not fully developed mentally.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our second emergency therapy session, and this is where we learn that the real person is Kevin, and it's like, okay, are we ever going to meet Kevin? Who knows? That there are 23 identities living inside this body, and that Barry, the queer-coded alter who is extroverted, is usually the leader. She starts to figure out here that this is probably Dennis. He has OCD, he's the pedophile, and we learn that he and Patricia have both quote-unquote been banned, so they're not ever supposed to take the light.
Well, I love it, though. Banned from the light because of their beliefs. So I love that it's like,
it's like religious persecution.
Yeah, it's a culty thing. Exactly.
It is, though. Like, when the beast takes over, he sounds like he's preaching.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. Okay. So we hop back to, like, so this is Dennis, and once again, he kind of flees when Fletcher starts to figure him out. By the way, love the angled up shots of him coming down the spiral staircase, because I love a spiral staircase.
I know. I also love that she just asks him point blank. She's like, I believe I'm talking to Dennis, and I've never met Dennis before, so, but... You know, he walks it out, but it doesn't fool her. It doesn't fool her, and I think it sets it up for the third and final therapy session that they'll have the next day, where she can actually talk to Dennis one-on-one and start to basically treat him like he's a different patient, because he is a different patient. Mm-hmm.
But this is also our introduction to Jay, the Hooters enthusiast, who is played by M. Night Shyamalan. So he comes over to show her the CCTV footage. This is where she's like, okay, I just need confirmation that I'm figuring this out right. And we watch as the Dennis, or maybe Patricia character, walks directly through garbage on this street. And it's like, okay, that seems like a person who has OCD, who's trying not to look like they have OCD by walking through garbage, whereas a regular person would just be like, ew, garbage, I'm going around.
So I actually love this touch with Shyamalan's cameo, too, because he says to Fletcher at one point, like, oh, I used to get in some bad trouble when I was younger or something. And it's because he's playing the same role he played for his cameo in Unbreakable, where he was the drug dealer at the stadium.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that is very fun.
Mm-hmm. So really, technically, even though he doesn't, like, because I don't think he has a name in Unbreakable, he's just stadium drug dealer, but, like, this is supposed to be your first clue where, he's playing the same character.
That is very fun. Okay. But, Trace, play my game with M. Night.
Oh, God.
How many titles have we covered from him?
I mean, acting roles?
No.
Okay.
Direction.
Okay, good. Okay, so we've definitely done The Village.
Yes.
That's a commentary.
Mm-hmm.
We have covered Unbreakable.
We have not.
Oh, shit. Signs is definitely one we've covered.
We have done Signs.
And Knock at the Cabin, I said. Trap, we did. Old, we did.
Yep.
I don't
There's
think we've...
one more.
We haven't covered...
TV is your downfall.
Oh, Servant.
Yes. So we have covered 7 other M. Night titles. So this makes 8.
God.
I think this puts him up in the upper echelons of how popular a director we have covered.
So, but we have not covered The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Lady in the Water, The Happening.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never cover Last Airbender, After Earth.
No.
And The Visit.
I don't know. We could do After Earth. We've done gentle sci-fi stuff, but I don't hate that one as much as other people do.
I've never seen it, but I cannot stand Jaden Smith at all.
What?
I cannot stand him. I cannot stand either Smith child.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. But Jaden is pretty obnoxious to me.
Okay, we get a flashback to, like, them killing the deer and talking about how it's a family tradition. I start to lose a little bit of my patience with some of these flashbacks because I just don't know how much new information they're giving us until the big one.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like, well, would I rather have these scenes make up one big flashback, or are they better interwoven in the narrative like this?
I think, okay, I'll walk it back. I don't think that they're intervening too much. Like, sometimes they do help to break things up just to give current day Casey a bit of a breather. But yeah, like, do I think that they're instrumental? Do I think they always have to be here? Sometimes it really just feels like, well, we need to continue reminding people that something happened to her when she was young.
Because it's the means to an end, the end being the revelation that she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So back in the cell, Patricia brushes Casey's hair. This is painful looking.
Yeah.
But then she takes Casey and Marcia to a dingy kitchen, and this is where Marcia tries to make her move. So again, unlike Casey, she just can't help herself. She and Claire, they both just kind of rush into this without a plan. So she tries to break a chair over either Patricia or Dennis because they are switching in the scene. It starts as Patricia. When she realizes that she is cutting the bread incorrectly, it switches to Dennis because of his OCD. So he starts a new sandwich, gets the chair over the back, and then the moment I find very chilling here. So Marcia takes off running. And Dennis just looks at Casey and he says, go to your room, lock the door.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, ugh.
So one little like thing McAvoy does when he's giving them the sandwiches, he goes, it's got paprika in it. And he does this little like lifts his shoulder, like as Patricia type thing. But there's a deleted scene where basically, because you might wonder like, well, why do they bring them into a different room to eat sandwiches? Why don't they just give them their sandwiches in the cell? So in a deleted scene, Casey talks to Patricia and says, they say animals eat better in familiar environments. So they take them to a place that's like their habitat, not in their cells. And Patricia's like, oh, that's very clever of you. Well, why don't we go to the dining room? And the reason that we remove that is because Shyamalan didn't want Casey to get like one up on Patricia this early in the film. So he wanted it to be Patricia's choice on her own to bring them to this dining room.
Oh, interesting. I think it still would have worked because in this scene, we also get that exchange about, okay, so Casey knows her animal information, right? Like she knows about lions and that kind of stuff. And it does impress both Patricia as well as Dennis. But yeah, I guess she doesn't get a one up on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay. So Marcia is on the move, but just like Claire, she doesn't make it very far. This is back to Patricia now. So Patricia comes out of the darkness with the sandwich knife. And I fully remembered Marcia just getting killed here. But she doesn't. We just threaten her. But this is also where we get the reveal of why she and Claire were stalked and chosen. It's because they have never truly suffered.
Yeah, you've always been protected. You've never truly suffered. That, oof. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So meanwhile, Casey has done as she was told. So she went back to her room and she shut the door. Dennis goes to her. She's very tearful, but this is when he confirms that the beast is coming and all of the girls will now be kept separate for the rest of the film.
Which I get why in the world of the film that they do this, but
sure.
It makes it so much less interesting because then we essentially, honestly, after this point, Claire and Marcia aren't really characters in this movie.
No, we'll get a couple of scenes of Claire encouraging Marcia to try to use a coat hanger to open some kind of deadlock on the door. And it's great tension in those moments because we're doing a lot of cross-cutting between exciting things and the music is rising. But yeah, it effectively turns Casey in. And I think that's why Shyamalan does it, is because it puts all the focus on Casey because she is truly the lead. But I agree with you. If you were enjoying anything about Claire or Marcia, kiss it goodbye because they're basically out of this film for
most of it. Like we might do a cutaway to them every now and then, but pretty much the next time we really see them is when they're dying.
Right. Yeah. So we have another flashback with Uncle John. It's kind of inconsequential, but okay. Yeah, it's just like him with a gun.
I don't even have it in my notes. So yeah inconsequential.
And then Casey wakes up and Hedwig is in her bed and he is spooning her. And there's obviously a very creepy insinuation because at this point we do know enough about Dennis. So it takes a beat to figure out which of the alters this is. But ultimately it's revealed to be Hedwig, so it's actually not particularly sexualized until the boy makes it sexual because he talks about how he took control and blah, 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 but then also he wants a kiss. And this is a sloppy juvenile child kiss, but it still has those super creepy undertones where Casey is doing it because she thinks she can use this to her advantage.
Well, also, though, because either way you look at it, it's like, oh, it's a non-minor being like kissing a minor, no matter which way you look at it. Like, it could be Casey kissing a 9-year-old boy, or it could be a grown man kissing a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah. So she says, well, why don't you take me to your room so we can listen to Kanye? And he has learned that she has tried to manipulate him in the past, so he doesn't want to fall for it. But she says, well, in order to convince you, how about I tell you a truth? So she admits that she gets into trouble on purpose to get away from people and to be alone. And this is one of those other pieces. So this is obviously tied into the sexual assault backstory, but it also addresses something Claire said at the top of the film at the party, where she says, oh, she's always getting into trouble. She's always getting into detention. And some people want more from this, right? It's like, okay, is this... I think we get enough to understand that Casey just prefers to be alone because she doesn't know how to relate to people, and she's really built up all these brick walls. Folks will have a lot more to say about trauma and how people address it next month in a secret to come. But I think we get enough of it here to understand, but I would have loved to have addressed it a bit more thoroughly, or even had Casey explain a little bit more of herself, because I think this is really it. And then we get to the reveal and you're like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Well, and it's like, I mean, like, again, the abused minor gets in trouble at school on purpose isn't exactly like rocket science. Like, that's something that you could probably see in like a general, like, description of someone who's suffered childhood abuse.
Yeah, it feels, I mean, I don't want to say cliche because it's probably founded in fact, but it does feel like a very familiar kind of slightly tropey story. It's
tropey, but it's based on fact, but it's also kind of surface level. Like, we're not delving into this.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so we get to the third therapy session. Dr. Fletcher is very much, what the fuck is going on? You keep messaging me all the time. Like, usually it's once a week, and I've seen you every day for the last 3 days. So things are escalating. Mm-hmm. And she zeroes in on the fact that this is definitely Dennis, and she figures out that this probably has something to do with an incident that happened to Kevin. So this is the real person who has the 23 different personalities that we have not actually met. But Kevin had an incident at work where 2 young underage girls pulled a sexual prank on him. And she deduces, Dr. Fletcher does, that this is what instigated the dominance of someone like Dennis or Patricia, is that this was Kevin's coping mechanism, is to allow these characters to start taking the focus coming into the light.
Yeah. Also, like, what? I mean, I'm not saying it's never happened before, but 2 teenage girls run up to some guy working at a factory or something and forcefully put his hands on their own breasts.
It sounds like a dare, right? Like, hey, why don't you go and humiliate that person by putting them into an uncomfortable situation because they don't know us? Like, I could imagine that for sure, but this is pretty casually glanced over. It's like, okay, you just need to know that something triggered Kevin and gave him, flashbacks to his own sexual abuse, which we will unpack in a bit. And as a result, this is how Dennis and Patricia started their... It's kind of a coup, right? Like a body coup.
Yeah, basically. Yes, exactly that.
Okay, so this is where Fletcher really starts to put on her therapist hat. So she hasn't met Dennis before, but she's starting to figure him out. How can she best work with him? And this is where we also really start to talk about the beast. So it's not he is coming anymore. It's not you are sacred food. It's, okay, the beast is a potential 24th personality, and he has details like can climb walls and has thick, impenetrable skin.
Like the hide of a rhinoceros.
Like the hide of a rhinoceros. Put that in your back pocket, everybody.
Which I gotta say, by the way, Joe, I just revisited Catwoman this week, and I totally forgot that the villain Sharon Stone's entire plot is to release face cream into the world where it will turn your skin into, as hard as marble.
Yes. Yeah. Don't we all want to be just impenetrable to the world?
I love it. Also, because she looks airbrushed the entire time in the movie, so it's hilarious.
Oh my God. It's either the best Halo lighting or some kind of post-filming touch-up.
It's like that Scream 4 filter that everyone complains about.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Which, you know what? I mean, she looks fucking great.
Oh, she looks great, yeah.
Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. Thick, impenetrable skin.
Yes.
But Dr. Fletcher doesn't believe that the beast exists. I mean, she's never met half of these personalities, but she's pretty certain that Dennis has actually made this person up. Like, there is no beast. You've never met him in person, so this is just a fantasy.
Which, that's her big mistake for just keeping saying that over and over and over again. It's like, well, okay.
I think it's because the description is so fantastical, right? It could only be fiction because no person has that ability, even though she herself has already admitted that the alters... But I mean, she's talking about things like, oh, you can become ambidextrous, or you can, speak in different languages. Like, that's the way she's looking at it. Whereas the world of the film is saying, oh, no, he can be so much more than that.
Well, so she can't have it both ways then. She can't say, oh, they can change their physiology if they will it, and then say, oh, but except for that, that's not possible.
Oh my God, are you back to victim blaming?
Well,
she really got herself into this.
I mean, she did really walk into this herself.
I mean, she kind of did, but she thought she was helping.
Well, I have thoughts about her abduction, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got more scenes with Hedwig and Casey. He is taking her up on the offer to go to his room. And I do want to give a shout out to that production designer. So Mara Lepere Schloop. I love this attention to detail where if you look around, like if you pause this and just look at the things that are in the background, you can see that the room feels completely disconnected because there's different ideas or different aspects of all of the alters' personalities because they're sharing these spaces, but they each have unique elements that they call theirs, right? So it's not just the clothes, it's the different artwork. It's, we'll see a shot at near the end of the film where there's 24 or 23 different toothbrushes because they all have their own.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even clock that, but I think you've mentioned this already, but the reason that we want to go to Hedwig's room is because he keeps talking about a window that's in his room. And I actually love this reveal where it's,
oh my God,
it's a crayon drawn window on a piece of paper that he's taped to the wall.
Yeah. And it's almost even more devastating because when Casey realizes this, she looks at it and Hedwig is like, oh, it's a window. Get it? Because in one drawing, it's closed and then he flips it and it's open. You're just like, no.
It's wild. Oh, we also learn here, too. I think maybe Hedwig tells Casey this, but so the beast resides in a train yard because Kevin's dad left on a train. And I do want to bring this up just because I was like, well, how much did Glass tie into all of this? The reveal of Glass is that the train crash that Samuel L. Jackson caused to test Bruce Willis's powers in Unbreakable is the train that Kevin's dad was on.
Oh, fuck. And here's the thing. I don't remember that at all.
Well, no, I don't remember that either. But again, it's been 6 years, Joe.
I mean, that is some Roman from Scream 3 level retcon bullshit, which I do kind of love in some ways. Like, oh, wow, Elijah Price really did set off everything in these films.
Yeah. And, I honestly, because I don't care about these films as much as I care about the Scream films and continuity. So with that, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, sure. Why not, movie? Why not Shyamalan?
Go for it. Whatever. It's your franchise. Do as you will.
Yeah, you paid for it. Do what you want.
Yeah. So the other big thing in this scene, and I think it's especially heartbreaking if you've seen any kind of abduction films, is we get our hands on a walkie-talkie, and it's real. It's not a toy. This is Dennis's, and Hedwig is definitely not supposed to be touching it. But of course, Casey uses it, and she gets in touch with Vince from the Westgate, who is voiced and eventually played by Jerome Gallman. And she tries to say, hey, this is my name. I'm being held somewhere. I've got to be super close to you. And this dude, this shitty fucking dude, thinks it's a prank.
Isn't that always like the horror movie thing? Like, is this a joke? Like, you're playing a prank on me, kids. But it's like, ugh. Which I will say, though, I forgot the reveal at the end of like who he is when it's like, oh, at least we get that catharsis of him realizing, oh, I fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up big time. Because here's the thing. I could believe this on the first interaction, right? You know, hey, I'm Casey. I'm a girl who's been abducted. Oh my God. Martha, are you playing a prank on me? But when she's like, no, I have been abducted. I'm going to be murdered. I'm like, I don't think that's a prank anymore, buddy.
Like, at that point, call the cops and just say, this is what happened. Do what you want with it.
Yeah, you know what? Better to ring a false alarm than let 3 girls fucking die.
Yeah, exactly that. But
oh, Vince, you sack of shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously Casey gets apprehended here. It's very disappointing. She's taken back to the cell, but she does manage to grab a stray nail because after, I think it's after Claire made her break, Dennis went around boarding up different things. So we plugged the hole in the ceiling, we installed better things on the doors. So Casey finds a single nail that she can grab before she is locked back into her cell. Ooh. But Dennis does leave saying the beast will be arriving that night.
So cue our flashback.
Yeah, this is the big one. So this is where we get confirmation that Uncle John is a pedophile. So he liked to play naked animals with young Casey. So they would cavort around without clothes because animals don't wear clothes. And I just died a little inside.
Yeah, this is, I feel like you probably figured out what was going on before this, but this really confirms it. I do this is also a pretty long flashback. And I got to say, there is something cut out of this flashback as well.
Oh. Okay.
So we skip out on watching her get molested, thank God.
Yes.
Then we go into this moment where, young Casey holds a shotgun on Uncle John. And
I so vividly remembered her pulling the trigger.
So did I.
I thought she blew him away.
So did I. I was like, cool, that's what's going to happen. That's great. No. So the gun's not even loaded. But basically what also happens at the end of this scene is the dad comes out. And young Casey tells the dad, I don't want to go hunting with Uncle John anymore. I want it to be just you and me. And he says, he looks kind of confused. And he's like, oh, whatever. But he's like, okay, you know what? That's totally fine, honey. We can do that. And then we cut back to grown-up Casey in her cell still screaming. And so it's meant to be the audience is like, wait, she told her dad, not exactly what happened, but to something to fix it. Why is she still upset? So Shyamalan's reasoning for removing that part of this flashback, he said, this was an unnecessary loop-the-loop of emotion. We don't need this here. Because the next flashback we get is the reveal that he has died.
Yeah. Sorry, the father has died. He died of a heart attack. And this is what then puts her into Uncle John's care. So he becomes her guardian.
Guardian. That's the thing is, so Casey has then lived her entire life after the age of 5 up until now living with her abuser.
Yeah, and the other thing that really goes unspoken until the very end of the film when she is rescued and treated by, paramedics, and then there's a female police officer who informs her that her guardian is going to be arriving. Her uncle has arrived. And the film, yes, I'm jumping all the way to the end. Don't worry, we'll come back. But the implication to me, the way I choose to read this, is that Casey will finally tell this woman, this female police officer, that her guardian has been sexually abusing her for her entire life.
That's what I want to happen. I don't think the film makes it very clear that it implies that strongly enough.
I agree that I don't think it's strong or clear enough, but I think that's what we're meant to take from the fact that, she has been voiceless and she has been I don't want to say passive. I don't want to say that she hasn't reacted, but we understood that she was isolating herself, right? That's why she was the loner. That's why she was acting out so she could be alone. But she clearly hadn't told anybody about this because Claire said, where is her guardian? How come no one has come to pick her up at the party? Well,
if you don't want to read into the ending, what just literally happens is she is dropped back off into the hands of her abuser at the end of this film after escaping the beast.
So I guess you could read it as, okay, there's a positivity where she maybe says something and gets away from her abuser, or you could read it very darkly and say, oh, she just escaped one and she's now placed into the hands of the repeat one.
Well, but then I'm thinking, okay, well, so let's say she does, she breaks out of her uncle's grasp after this thing. So then it's like, okay, well then it took another traumatic incident for her to get out of this. So it's trauma begets trauma, which also allows you to heal. I don't know. It's a rabbit hole I'm going down in my head that I'm not really sure I want to go down.
Well, and I think that is part of the problem. So I'll bring Buckley in here. And part of this is, I think it also works with the reveal of when the beast finally catches up to her and decides not to kill her because she is covered in self-harm scars. But Buckley says, the reveal that Casey has been sexually abused by her uncle is handled horribly, not least of all because it's purely used as a plot device and nothing of Casey's perspective or feelings about her own abuse are ever brought into focus. And I do think that's the big thing, right? We never get a moment where Casey tells anybody about this, and we don't have voiceover in this movie, so it's never clear how she has processed this or what she thinks of it, or even how she aligns this with what's going on.
That's fair.
And I do think it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, I am in full agreement with that, actually.
Okay, so we're back to the present. Dr. Fletcher, she has gotten a absolute fuck ton of messages. We should also note, we don't actually know who has been sending her the emails, because it very clearly has not been Dennis. Dennis shows up to put on the nothing is wrong face. Don't worry, everything is totally fine.
I think these emails are all from different people, too.
I think we're supposed to attribute them to Jade, because Jade is a random figure that we only meet ever so briefly, but in the sort of climax when the personalities are all kind of converging or coming out one by one, Jade does say, I'm Jade, I sent the email.
Got it.
Yeah. But again, it's kind of like, well, who is Jade? What? It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck ton of messages, which means Dr. Fletcher is very, very concerned. So this time she doesn't wait for a meeting. She goes to meet Dennis at his work. So they meet outside of a gate, and we still have no idea what it is that Dennis does, or like, where does Kevin work? Where has this job been that he has managed to hold down and be quote unquote normal for like the last 10 years? So I like that we're getting a little bit of information, but we never truly figure it out until the end, and you're like, oh right, the zoo, it does make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, but she goes to see him, and she then starts to realize, oh, this beast thing is actually a bigger problem than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, even if she still doesn't fully believe it, she understands that she has walked into a pretty dangerous situation. I appreciate that it doesn't take her very long to realize she needs to get the fuck out of there.
Joe, honestly, the biggest laugh in the movie for me, so it's the end of the conversation she has with Dennis, and she just goes, you seem very empowered by the philosophies of the beast.
Yeah.
I'm going to go now.
Yeah. It's not even a beat. It's, I'm going to take my leave because you seem to be leaning into religious hysteria.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the funny thing is maybe it's not even funny. Maybe it's scary, is that he's so confident that he just lets her walk away. Question for you. The handkerchief that she sticks in the door, does that have a payoff?
I think because Casey ends up opening that door.
Okay.
At some point. But she still struggles to open it, so it doesn't open immediately. But I remember because you can see the handkerchief just sticking out when she's trying to open the door.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so Dr. Fletcher takes her leave. They had been in the kind of break room kitchenette area, so she walks down the hall. It should be familiar to us by this point. And she notices that there are lights under some of these doors. So even though Dennis is not there, she takes the risk. She opens up one of them, and she can see that Claire is on the ground asking for help, begging for help. This woman is obviously vulnerable. She's in a state of undress. She's distraught and also hysterical. And of course, we get, this is a very classic kind of horror movie setup, right?
I'm just like, again, like she should have run out and called the cops to do a wellness check on this place. I just like, this is bizarre. That she's. I mean, I get it. She's in shock. She opens the door. She sees this girl. She's like, "Oh my god! Like this is what he is capable of. How did I not know this?" All these thoughts are going through her head.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you need to be running away.
I think it's because she truly didn't believe that the beast was real, so she didn't have any reason to believe that Dennis or Patricia or even Kevin were dangerous. So I think she was concerned with him as an individual, first and foremost. Like, I need to go and see my patient and make sure that they're not in distress. And then it's not until she's inside this locked building and at his mercy that she realizes, oh, I have made a fatal faux pas.
Now, there is a final deleted scene in this moment. So basically, after Dennis sprays Dr. Fletcher and knocks her out, there's a moment where Dennis is like sitting there talking to himself, maybe also talking to Patricia, where he says, maybe we are crazy. He starts showing remorse for what he had to do to Dr. Fletcher. And this is where Shyamalan says, in my mind, Dennis was recruited by Patricia.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, if you wanted us to take that away, you needed to leave that scene in, but I can also understand why you don't leave that in, because I don't think we need to feel a ton of sympathy for Dennis. Like, in a way, I look at Dennis and Patricia orchestrated this. Like, they really did get these girls killed because they facilitated the arrival of the beast.
Yeah. I mean, and there's another world where it's like, maybe we're dealing with the focus of the movie where it's like, Patricia is manipulating Dennis just as much as she's manipulating Hedwig, but the movie's already kind of overstuffed in like in the theme department.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to be getting rid of these young girls and just focusing on these personalities battling it out, which maybe gets us to Identity.
Oh man, that's a movie. Did the DID community complain about that?
They absolutely did.
Okay.
Yes, they did. And I will say, I don't think that movie handles it
No!
nearly as well as this movie. And if you've got issues with this film, definitely do not seek out Identity.
Man, I love Identity, though.
I mean, yeah. I would also argue Identity is a movie that does not hold up under scrutiny. It's a fun movie, but I don't think it holds up when you start to pick away at it.
Whores don't get a second chance.
Oh my God. That fucking movie. Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Fletcher has been knocked out by Dennis, and then we get a bunch of short scenes that are kind of cross-cut. So we get Patricia and or Dennis, I think it's actually both of them again, purchasing flowers because I think it's Patricia thanks Dennis for getting to the train station where the flower shop is. And then they leave this bouquet on the train station platform. And yes, of course, this is where we said the beast lives. We have Claire encouraging Marcia to use this coat hanger to unlock the door, and we've got Casey using the nail to free herself, finding the videos of all the personalities on the computer because she can't access the internet, but she can see videos of all of these different people. And I love that her ingenuity to play the various videos and pay attention allows her to find the keys that Barry has left because he recorded himself leaving the room, and there they are.
Yeah, they're like on the coat rack rod under his beanie cap.
It's so good. Like, to me, this is pretty clever storytelling because it's giving us information about the different personalities. Like, we get to see, who is it? I think there's a philosopher character. I want to say it's Otto or something. So, she's just kind of clicking through, and we can see, as you said earlier, there's a video for each personality kind of introducing themselves. So that's a fun kind of Easter egg, but it's still storytelling, and it still advances the plot when she finds the keys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so she has found the way out because now she doesn't need an open window. So off we go, and we get the score crescendoing in a dialogue-free montage as the beast finally emerges. This is in an empty train car, and McAvoy's physicality really starts to come into play.
Yeah.
It's not just accent work and costumes anymore, folks.
Yeah, but do you think his veins are makeup or CGI?
Yes.
Both. Like maybe it's like makeup that's augmented by CGI.
I think so. I truly don't know. Part of me was like, man, is he just, doing 25 push-ups and hitting a Red Bull or something? Like, but no, these are super pronounced veins.
Like even all over his back.
Yeah. So we should note that he is shirtless and barefoot for the rest of the film because, of course, he's a beast. And I have to give credit to the camera work here because him, sort of clambering up and having this interaction where the dog gets startled. Ooh, that's a beast. A little on the nose, but it's kind of fine. The overhead shot of him running, like full on sprinting underneath the lamppost is so good.
Because we're also we're not showing the beast's face. So I don't, do we ever see the beast's face actually in this movie?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, when he advances on he advances on Casey when she's imprisoned behind the cage and stuff.
I guess then I kept thinking, is his face going to look drastically different? But it doesn't. So
it doesn't. No, it's not like a Mr. Hyde kind of situation. It's not League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
But I guess then the reasoning behind not showing his face for so much up until the end is we're still trying to make him we're not trying to personify him.
Right. I mean, he is a mysterious figure. I appreciate that he doesn't lope, he's not an animal, but he does feel like an uncontrolled id.
I'm surprised we don't ever use the term demon.
No, there's for all of its religious implications in, as we said, the preaching and the deification that Dennis and Patricia seem to have for the beast, this isn't a particularly religious film.
No, not at all. Which is weird considering how religious a lot of Shyamalan's films are.
Yeah, which of course is even more hysterical because he's Hindu and doesn't actually adhere to most of the like quote unquote regular North American religions. Like he's not a Christian, but he does put a lot of Christianity into his movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't like the way I said that. I apologize. I didn't mean to offend anybody who is practicing something other than Christian and saying like, "Oh, my religion is not normal." That's not what I meant. No offense.
Yeah, but it is still a recurring theme he does incorporate. Like not even heavy-handed in a way. Well, maybe Signs more so than the others, but still.
Signs is the biggest one, but I would argue it's also integral to that film. Like that movie is about faith.
Well, but and even though he's a Christian pastor, like I would argue that a lot of Shyamalan stuff can not even be honed in on just Christianity. It's just, the concept of faith as a concept.
Yeah. I think he acknowledges that people often feel a connection to a spirituality or faith or, a religion because a lot of his films deal with things that are bigger than us as people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move into this climax. So, we've got the Beast making his way back. We've got Karen waking up from her gassy stupor, and we see that she is struggling to write something down. We don't get to see what it is, but, she's pretty slow moving because she's trying to overcome the effects of the gas. And the girls are going to maybe make it out. Casey has definitely made it out. It's like, okay, everything is coming together. Will they make it before the Beast returns? Answer, no.
I will say Dr. Fletcher's death is really mean.
Oh my God. It's so mean. Like, it's a fucking elderly woman who has kind of been our de facto protagonist for long stretches of this film. She's, you can quibble with, did she kind of inadvertently get herself into this situation? But when the Beast shows up behind her and just gives her a big squeeze, and then you hear the crack.
Yeah, I love too, because she tries to stab him with a knife, and the knife breaks against his skin. So in her dying moment, she's like, oh shit, I was wrong.
Shit, motherfuck.
Yeah.
I guess the Beast was real all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, like, we technically have more deaths to come, but I would argue none of them make a huge impact. Like, this is the death in the film.
Well, because the deaths are also kind of like 1-1-1, because right after this is when Casey finds Claire. Well, I'm sorry, she finds Marsha's body first, which I actually do kind of love the way this is done, because the Beast kills these girls by eating out their stomachs.
Yeah, and I will say I don't want a ton of gore in this movie, but it is not evident exactly. Like, we hear munching sounds and we can see that it is the two other girls, but we're really not elaborating on what is going on.
Well, because it's PG-13, and unfortunately because because she finds Marsha's body first, and you can see that this it's a makeup job where Jessica Sula is lying down, she's dead, and she has like some red fake blood on her crosser, and there's like a hint of intestines, but like it's such a quick shot that you can't really tell. So I think that's supposed to clue you into when you see Claire getting dragged away. Right. That's what's happening to her too. But I just think it's weird that it's only her stomach.
Yeah. I mean, it's meant to be very animalistic. We did make reference to lions earlier, so I don't know if it's supposed to be some kind of connection to that, but yeah, it's fine. It's to the point though where I wasn't 100% sure that these girls were dead. So when we get to the end of the film and it's like, we've got this one body with the other two girls' bodies. And I was like, wait, they're both 100% dead? Okay.
That's the hazard of PG-13. And it's like, well, if you didn't want to make it rated R, then maybe you shouldn't have him be eating the girls. But I guess what else would you do?
I mean, I'm kind of shocked. I definitely also thought that this film was R-rated.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely not. It is. We only get one fuck in it.
Yeah. If you had have asked me before we started recording, I would have said, no, it's an R for sure.
Yeah, no, all because Unbreakable is PG-13 and so is Glass.
Wild.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I think the only R-rated film Shyamalan has done are The Happening and Knock at the Cabin.
Okay. Yes, and I remember there's definitely more profanity and stuff in there, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, we have seen the girls get dragged away and or munched on. So Casey slams this door. She tries to deadbolt it, but like this is a baby lock, so clearly that's not going to hold him. But also, it is still a fun scene to, watch the beast just go bam, and this door just.
I was going to say, it hits the beast. Like that little lock's not going to keep him out.
It's not going to do it. But I mean, it does buy her a little bit of time. So she ends up finding this note, and on the note is the full name. So Kevin Wendell Crumb. We learned earlier, Casey doesn't know this, but, Dr. Fletcher said, basically the note says, say this.
Yeah, say his name.
But we heard Dr. Fletcher say earlier that you can bring Kevin back if you say his full name. So it's, it's kind of like waking somebody up from hypnosis, right?
It's a Rumpelstiltskin scenario.
Sure. Yeah. What's the beast name? Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
So this does work, and we get Kevin. This is our first taste of Kevin. He has no memory of what's been going on. He asks if it's still 2014, which is very sad.
So he's been out for 2 years.
Yeah. These personalities just, which makes sense, right? Because Dr. Fletcher said this thing happened, and then these personalities emerge, but... Well, actually, no. Is that the timing? Have they been in full control since then? Or is it that thing triggered Dennis and Patricia's arrival 2 years ago?
Unclear.
Sorry, I got myself confused.
No,
anyway,
you're fine.
What's important to know is that, yes, Kevin has not been in the light for a very long time, doesn't remember any of this. There's this horrible moment where he sees, Dr. Fletcher's body, and he's like, oh, will you just kill me? There's a gun there. There's bullets in my locker, which also PS is, it's a more good storytelling. Like, hey, Casey, you're going to need to know this. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, this is where the personalities just come back because
they don't want to die
all over again. Well, I think it's more that he can't accept the reality of, oh my God, I've been missing all this time, and also I killed people.
Well, yeah, but they're all bargaining with Casey, basically saying, don't kill him, don't kill us.
Yeah. It's very much a battle for the body of Kevin, and these other alters have gotten incredibly powerful. So ultimately, they take control again, and that means that Patricia has the light. So Kevin's out of the picture, and Casey is on her own. She grabs the gun, she makes a run for it. She gets the lockers, she gets ammunition, but we are back in beast mode, baby. Mm-hmm. So we've got the beast biting her leg and just tearing a big chunk out of it before she can get through this gate.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Hey, did you want another flashback just to interrupt this pacing? Guess what? No, I didn't. I think it's important that we understand that, she ended up having to go with Uncle John, but also maybe not in this particular moment. Yeah, I mean, granted though, I guess because it's meant to be like, oh wow, Casey's kind of fucked. So let's show a flashback where it's like, oh yeah, she was also really fucked back then because her dad died.
Yeah, do you think this is meant to subtly suggest, oh, she is a survivor? She has been in terrible situations before. She can endure.
Maybe.
She will persevere.
Maybe. I would like to read it that way because that's the most, that makes the most sense.
I guess I walked out of this and said, is this movie trying to do a good for her thing in some ways? Because I don't think it's hitting it if it is.
If that was the case, we would have seen her blow her uncle's head off.
Right. Oh my God, it would have been so satisfying. Sidebar, super sad real life sidebar. That actor actually died back in 2022.
What? Really? The one that plays the uncle?
No idea. Yeah.
Oh,
he apparently had a tumor and it was real bad. So.
Oh, I had no idea. Yeah.
No, because I mean, he's obviously terrible in this movie, but he's quite funny in Orange is the New Black, and he's a good actor. I like that.
That's wild.
Okay, so the beast hanging from the ceiling, preaching about pain and greatness, breaking all these lights in the hallway. Casey's playing, okay, remember what Dad told you about the shooting, track them, take your shot when it counts, and so on. So she ends up putting 2 blasts into this guy. And you think, okay, he just went down, and then he gets back up, albeit slowly, and starts to just pry open the bars that are basically protecting her because she's got nowhere else to go. She's backed up against the wall.
I was waiting on his teeth to just smash because he's clenching his teeth so hard as he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It just okay, kind of sidebar. But do you remember in Kill Bill when we had that anime with Lucy Liu, and there's a moment where she goes and gets a revenge on her parents' killers, and like,
oh yeah.
But like the guy's like she's stabbing him, and he's clenching his teeth so hard that all of his teeth just fly out of his mouth.
Yeah,
I just
you thought that was gonna happen.
Oh god, because it really freaks me out. Like, to think about you like clenching your teeth so hard that you forcefully like push them all out of your gums.
And teeth is a big thing for a lot of horror people. It's like eyes, teeth, fingernails,
teeth
Achilles tendons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think nails are the worst, but I digress. Anyway, so
fair enough.
So
you know what? To each their own.
He opens these bars and finally sees all the scars on her body. So I guess, bully on him for not asking her to take her clothes off like he did with Marcia and Claire.
Yeah, because basically I can't even remember why she had to take off her top, but yeah, so she's basically wearing a tank top, and it reveals that she has been self-harming pretty much everywhere. Like, Claire made a note of it at the beginning, again, at the party. There's way more information loaded into that early conversation, but, she always wears long sleeves, and here you understand, because she has self-harmed all over her arms and her belly. I don't like this. So this is the other piece, right? Like, okay, it's not just enough that she has survived sexual assault, albeit she's not in a great place, but yeah, she's clearly still struggling with this. And I mean, I think it works for the Beast recognizing, okay,
but that's
trauma,
the reason it's there.
I see trauma, but it's like, oh, wow, we're just dropping in the self-harm, and we're also not going to unpack or have her address any of that either.
And I guess that's where, in another version of this movie, because we were saying we want to know how Casey feels about all this. Like, that's a big thing we're missing from this movie is then you have the Beast, like you have her talk to the Beast or someone, one of these other alters about it. And that's how they find out, rather than, I can see scars on her body.
I don't really know what to make of this message either, because he sees her and he literally uses the word broken, like, you're broken just like us. And then he says, rejoice. And I'm like, wait, so we're saying traumatized people won't hurt other traumatized people?
No, but this is where we're going into the philosophy of the Beast, though. Because he says, those who have not been torn have no value in themselves and no place in this world. They are asleep. And so the line you just kind of paraphrased, he says, your heart is pure, rejoice. The broken are the more evolved. And that's again something where it's like, well, look at that. This is the Beast philosophy that I'm like, okay, sure. But we don't know why this is the Beast philosophy. Like, what?
And I guess we don't have to put too much stock into it because he is the villain or the antagonist.
Exactly.
But I don't know, because we don't have Casey's voice in this mix and we don't know how she feels. I don't know. There's something about this that feels a little icky. Like, to me, this is where the film is not succeeding, is in this sexual assault, self-harm, and then by extension, the DID harm that we're potentially doing. Like, film, very entertaining, performances great, action very exciting, incredibly well filmed, but this messaging, the way that we're using people's trauma makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, and I think the one gripe I did have with Glass, if I remember correctly, was because Casey does come back in Glass.
She does.
But it's mostly to serve the Bruce Willis and the Kevin and James McAvoy characters to help them. Yeah. So it's like, this isn't her movie anymore. She is, if I remember correctly, I feel like her coming into the movie felt kind of arbitrary. Like, oh yeah, right, she was in the last movie, we got to bring her into this one too. And so that's why I'm just kind of like, I don't remember if we get any closure on the Uncle John storyline. And
I don't know about that, but there's definitely an element of forgiveness where she helps to facilitate Kevin's death, but he also dies in her arms as if to suggest, okay, well, we've now brought this full circle. We're both at peace.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more satisfying. Part of me, I do kind of want to
rewatch it. I know. I do too. One of these days.
Okay. Yeah. So needless to say, it's strange because I think some people could find this anticlimactic, but I don't. Like sees like, so a traumatized individual sees trauma in another person and says, oh, I don't need to do anything to you because you're elevated, you're one of us kind of deal. And he just walks away. And then she eventually gets saved by a park employee who lets her out of this barred enclosure. We get the reveal that this has all been taking place underneath the Philadelphia Zoo. And then, yeah, she's treated and dumped back into the hands of Uncle John, presumably.
And that's it. That's the end of Casey.
That's the end of Casey in this, yeah. But it's not the end of Dennis or Patricia or Hedwig, because we do see that Kevin's body has escaped and they're patching themselves up. This is a little Spider-Man Green Goblin, but I'm not unhappy about it.
I like it.
Yeah, so different voices in different mirrors as we're having this conversation. And yeah, so the world will know how powerful the beast is, and he will protect these personalities. So we very much leave it open. The news reports that the Horde, which is what these three personalities in particular were referred to as, so we've given this figure this name. He's still on the loose, and we are now in a diner with a woman watching this on the news, and she remembers there was a guy with a funny nickname about 15 years ago, but oh gosh, Trace can't remember it.
No, so he was in a wheelchair. Joe, so watching this premiere, it was because no one knew.
Sure.
No one knew. But the second that she goes, there was a guy in a wheelchair. The second she said wheelchair, you could hear the audience going, ah!
It's so good. It's so good. So, of course, Bruce Willis sort of peeks his head forward, reprising his role for David Dunn, and he just says, Mr. Glass. And that's how we end this film.
It's great. And I guess
it's great.
Well, because also when I saw this, I was like, surely we're not going to get a sequel to this, because we didn't know how big this was going to be.
Yeah.
Then, it was made all the money in the world, and we got that sequel to, for better or worse.
Yeah, no, we sure did. And don't call me Shirley.
But yeah, I mean, overall, this ending is fucking good. Again,
it's a great ending.
This was a great fucking surprise. And even as someone who didn't, when I saw this, I still had only seen Unbreakable the one time in theaters, and I was 11, and I was still excited by this prospect.
Interesting. Okay, question for you. If the film had have just ended with the three personalities saying, we're going to persevere, the beast is going to protect us, and we just cut to black there, do you think it would have the same impact? Like, is there a world where this was tacked on when Shyamalan realized, oh, this movie is working, it's going to do well, and this is my entryway to make the third film?
I don't think so, man. I mean, like, and
you think it was always the plan?
I think it was always the plan, but if you remove this, is the ending as effective? And I don't know if the answer to that is yes or not, because I do think it's anticlimactic.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think I agree with you. It's hard to separate because in some ways, I think one of the reasons this movie does as fucking well as it does is because people got super pumped at the idea that, oh, it's not just a standalone film. It's going to tie back, and maybe we're going to get a third film, and aren't you excited to see James McAvoy do this again as well?
Yeah. I mean, well, and James McAvoy's performance, I think, is what a lot of people kept coming back for, too.
It is a virtuoso performance, like, not to undermine anything that Betty Buckley or Anya Taylor-Joy are doing, but I mean, if you're coming for the fireworks at the fireworks factory, it is James McAvoy.
Yeah. But, good movie is good.
Yeah, entertaining time. And I think we had some good conversations. I would really like to hear from listeners on this one. Are there things that we missed the mark on? Do you feel like the balance of the messaging is actually clear? Or do you think that this movie is, we'll say it again, a little capital P problematic? Let us know.
And actually, if it is, does that impede on your opinion of the film in a great way? Or is it easier to overlook? I'm curious about that too.
Yeah.
But, okay, everyone. Well, before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. That link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/HorrorQueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 450 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Return to Silent Hill, The Creep Tape Season 2, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, Primate, and to coincide with that Killer Chimp movie, we've got a brand new audio commentary on the 1995 adaptation of Michael Crichton's Congo.
Indeed, yes. Come to hear us talk about geopolitical stuff, but also how many times Trey says chimp. Oh, goddamn, gorilla.
Oh, no, yeah, I say monkey. You say monkey a bunch,
yeah.
And, ape. Ape is what it is. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. That was so embarrassing. What's not embarrassing is the movie we're covering next week. So, Joe.
Okay. I mean, you'll have to tell me because this is a first time watch for me.
Oh boy. Everyone, we are going to be watching the early 90s movie theater set slasher Popcorn. And there is a queer connection in the behind the scenes of this movie.
Yes, yeah. So I'm excited to see this one because I have heard nothing but good things. It's apparently a very good time, but also just the idea of, movies set in a movie theater.
I love it.
I do kind of love them.
I love it. Double feature this with Demons, and you've got a really good Saturday afternoon.
There we go. Okay.
But until next week, everyone, we can cross out Split.
Indeed. And cross out horror queers.
Listen to the waves. Feel the sand beneath your feet. The summer storm will never end. Some places never let you leave. You live here now. You live here now. Get tickets now for Return to Silent Hill in theaters January 23rd.